I don't know if I'm happy about it, but
You're not happy about it?
I just do it, Tim.
We're live.
What up, everybody?
So,
Oh gosh.
while we're getting the show ready, somebody chatted something like Adam was racist, and it's really funny because as I'm looking at the screen, I'm like, glazed over. Adam's telling a story about how he hates racism.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I got to tell some of these. And then the thing popped up, and I'm like, how did that person know just right at that moment to say that?
Weird.
Well, it wasn't just that I said I hated racism. It's that I called out someone it wasn't actually my own family member, but it was a prominent friend of the family that's always been around. And my sister married a black man. And I heard them say some racist stuff.
Yeah.
And I snapped. I was like, how dare you? How I actually I swore a lot.
Yeah.
I swore a lot at them. I was pissed. I took the gloves off and threw them on the ground. I was like, get the F out of my house. Don't you ever talk about my effing sister again or who she's with. Like, you have no idea. Get out. And they did. They left. They got up and left. And they're no longer friends of the family, which is awesome.
Yep.
And I was like, boom.
Well, I mean,
I was telling Lydia this story. We were talking about other stuff.
As this person was typing
and
this,
Tim's like, someone says you're racist, Adam.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
It was better than that. It was better than that. I'm all tired, and I'm sitting here like this, like,
He is.
and Adam's doing this impassioned story, like, and I said to them, you don't speak to my sister that way. And I'm like, I look over at the screen, and it's like, Adam is racist. And I'm like,
wait,
yo, Adam.
I was like, oh, we were just talking about
in the middle of Adam's defiant, and I will make sure they hear my voice when I say. That was great. Perfect timing, chat.
Oh man, that's good.
That was awesome.
Well, apparently, I don't know. You know what, man? Because I'm sitting here like this because the story today is like Trump's a Nazi, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, what else? Whatever. What else have they thrown that at him a long time ago?
Times, yeah.
Because
they try.
He posted a red triangle because his campaign posted a red triangle. And I'm like, I don't even know what you do.
What does that even mean?
It's a triangle, and then some people are like, it's a yield sign.
Yeah.
Because he was using traffic symbols.
Uh-huh.
And then the Trump team said that it was an Antifa symbol, which it is. It's not the most prominent, but
isn't it?
It is. It's been used by the left.
Like, you showed me some of those Antifa symbols that you were looking at earlier before the show, and it's like, that pretty much looks like a red triangle upside down, just like that.
Yeah, so apparently, I guess the Trump campaign used the symbol because they were like, it's a symbol from Antifa or whatever, but it's like a weird, obscure thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a weird story.
Yeah.
It's weird that the
That
left
is a little weird.
started screeching that it's a Nazi symbol. But then the question is, look, like, the Nazis put the Star of David on the Jewish people.
Okay.
Because they were Jewish. It's the Star of David. So it was two triangles, right?
Right.
And I guess the argument now is that they put the red triangle on the political prisoners because they were leftists opposing, the Nazis or whatever. And that they had used that symbol in the past, and that's where the symbol came from originally or something. But that makes no sense because apparently the Nazis used a bunch of different colored triangles. And I'm like, bro, are you seriously are we going to play a game where colored triangles are now like
racist?
Dog
racist?
whistles.
What? This is so stupid. Look at the chat. The chat is just loaded with red triangles.
Thanks, everyone.
You're all racist.
And listen. Donald Trump and his son are doing a
live show.
Triggered. I don't think it's live.
Don't say it. Don't say when. After our show ends, that's when it starts.
It's not till after our show, everyone.
Don't go looking for it right now, though. I swear.
It. It's not there.
Man, and they're talking about aliens. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, they're not. You know what Trump's gonna say. There's no aliens.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Like, and this is one of the jokes.
Well,
I've made all the
technically,
time
he asked him, can you open up Roswell so we can go in and look around? He's gonna be like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing.
Nothing. Told.
Wrong.
Gone.
You're wrong.
China.
China.
China's in there.
Nothing in there but China.
So it's one of those dumb days. And then we got I'm sorry, this is real. They're trying to claim that Beethoven was black.
Yeah. What?
Yep.
And so I started playing that song, A Fifth of Beethoven, and I'm like, man, I wish we really had like access to covers. We got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was like jamming.
Yeah, I'm jamming. And I'm like, it'd be really great to like open the segment just like jamming with the song. But they're literally, there's like a meme right now.
Okay.
Beethoven was black, and to me this is freaky because they're literally rewriting history.
They really are.
It's happening so fast. I'm getting kind of bored with it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like, oh, it's the waiting I can't stand. Just give me the new the revised history. Oh, like
Just tell me what I'm supposed to believe.
George
now.
Exactly.
George Washington
No.
Carver was the president.
You can't do that.
It wasn't actually.
Oh.
So they're removing the name George Washington and Jefferson from schools
Okay.
in California, I guess.
Yeah, I
in
saw
like
that.
Pacific Northwest. There's a really funny Reddit comment where someone was like, "You can just leave it the same and just claim it was named for George Washington Carver and George Jefferson."
Boom. There you go.
Like, wait, George Jefferson?
I don't know.
George Washington
It's
Carver, I
whatever.
get. He's like an inventor, right? George Jefferson. But hey, man,
You could wing it. Come
yeah,
on.
sure, whatever
You
works.
can jury rig it.
But at the same time, the weird thing about it is they're getting rid of all these mascots for like different food companies that are black.
Okay.
That's another thing I noticed.
Yeah, that's
I
weird.
recorded on. I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's coming for Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got a tall, ripped, white, bald dude.
Yeah, right?
He's a skinhead.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. You'd
Holy
think
cow.
they'd go for Mr. Clean first.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. Let's get rid of all the minority figures.
Yeah, all the
Land
representations
of
of
Lakes.
black people,
That
yeah.
was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
A month ago. I don't even remember.
That's a
A
while
couple
ago.
months now. Jeez.
Weird, man.
It's
So
like,
stupid.
well, if you're a minority, you're not allowed to be, put and help. You don't sell products.
Yeah. Seriously.
Like, wait, what?
That's not nice.
But so
It doesn't make any sense.
Thursday is capitalism day here at TimcastIRL because
Capitalism Day.
because
every
we
day.
have hard market competition with
Every
live
day is
streams
Capitalism Day.
and no, I just mean like we compete with a bunch of other
yeah.
shows.
Well,
true.
Crowder snapped this
Free
morning.
Market
Right.
Day. Oh, he did.
I'm
yeah.
interested in what he's saying
Exactly.
right now.
Yeah.
So we were close to being like, maybe we shouldn't do a show because we got to watch Trump and Crowder because Crowder
and
went
Trump,
off.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he went nuts.
Because Crowder, like, and it's funny because like we're talking about him live right now while he's live talking about. We're like, oh, what is Crowder saying? He was man. It sounds like he said in his rant. I'm pretty sure. Didn't he say silence is consent?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he's talking about
That's
conservatives
what you've been
being
saying
weak.
for a while.
Well, I don't say consent. I say
Okay.
abstaining.
Right.
So
you're basic.
Similar.
Yeah, come on. Semantics. You're gonna argue semantics with me.
I don't think silence is consent.
Well, I mean, it's semantics again. It's like you're saying if you're just gonna be silent, then they're gonna get their way. So shut up.
The consent thing is a stronger argument about how you are agreeing to their position by saying nothing.
Okay.
I don't go that far. I say you're ignoring the problem and it's going to get worse. If you don't care, that's your own problem.
Well, which do you think is gonna work to get them up and actually talking and saying something?
That's a good question.
Well, the left literally protests saying silence is consent. Like they and they were routinely mocked.
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I'm like, are you
terrible.
sure you want to go with that?
I
Because
wouldn't.
Where's the Me Too movement
Yeah,
now?
seriously.
They haven't shown around for that.
it's kind of a bad slogan, and I'm not a fan of it's almost authoritarian,
Almost.
telling people that they have to. The problem is liberty is a weakness. It can be a strength in a lot of ways, but and I'm definitely more for liberty, but you have to understand authoritarians can exploit that, take advantage of us. Like with COVID, we had a really hard time. China just like showed up with the welding kit and said, lock them in their doors, and then they came back later and found them dead on the ground.
That's true.
They didn't care because they don't respect life. So it's
Isn't it the Chinese Communist Party? That's what it stands for?
CCP.
CCP?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So that's communism.
Yeah.
Yep.
Communism for
How's
ya.
that working for them?
Well,
Authoritarianism.
apparently, curbing COVID. I don't know. They
No, it's
got
coming back.
1.4 billion people, and they got like 10 mega cities.
Actually, I read someone. I've been talking to a lot of people about this China-India confrontation, and I guess because of all the factories going under, not necessarily going under, but stopping production, America's taking that back. They're trying to bring factories back here. 40% of Chinese people are out of jobs. 40%.
Whoa.
So think about that.
Those are our
Dude.
jobs.
Well, yeah, maybe a lot of them. Like we start building factories, we got more jobs this way. But imagine, and they're saying like China needs to either, have a land war, or they're basically trying. They got to cull the masses. That's what they're saying China needs to do, and that's why they're trying to get into a land war with
Interesting.
India.
Oh my
And it's like,
gosh.
geez, that's brutal.
They're
That
trying
sounds
to
like
cull
something they
their
do.
population.
Communism.
Yeah.
They can't handle it because they're fearing that people will actually rise up and fight
And everything
the
falls apart.
Communist Party.
Unrest, yeah.
So
Right.
look, here's what's important. Liberty
Crazy.
is the best way to live.
I agree with
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But the question is always, would you give up freedom in exchange for security? And if you can't do it, it doesn't work.
No, you can't.
So what really happens is you want to ask me how China's doing as a country? Ridiculously well.
Yeah.
Their people, oof,
Right.
not so much.
Not
so
free.
not
So
much,
you
yeah.
would not want to be a person in that country, but hey, the country is doing great, and it's really crazy. I can't remember who this was. It was probably Bloomberg or something, being like, the communists in their authoritarianism has done well to help the people live better. I don't know if it was actually Bloomberg, so I'm probably gonna get in trouble. So I'm not saying it was actually him, but I wanted to imitate him. So
Right, yeah, sure.
We'll let that one slide.
Makes sense.
But there have been a lot of people who've been praising Chinese communism.
Yeah, that
for
scares me.
lifting people up. I know.
I bet
It's
they're
like,
all Democrats.
Yeah, I
Probably.
don't think it's any Republicans.
I don't know.
I'd be willing to bet a Republican's not going to come out and be like, China's great. Actually, no, take that back.
Really.
You'd be surprised.
Who would do that?
The neocons, a lot of the older Republicans who have retired, and
Yeah.
the old establishment, old guard people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, there's a lot of fringe things that I'm reading, like out on the outskirts, that it's this big, huge conspiracy to infiltrate America. China is trying to infiltrate us.
They
and
are.
It's like,
Mike Pompeo said it. It's not a
Succeeding, yeah.
conspiracy. The government.
it's not even a conspiracy anymore. Okay, so they're invading us. They're not just gonna pick Democrats. They're gonna pick anyone who has an empty pocket that wants money in it.
Yep.
Like, here, we'll put money in your pocket.
I'll tell you the problem, man. I was asked about why I'm always ragging on Democrats, and I was like, because Republicans don't do anything.
Ugh.
And then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, they really don't do anything.
They really don't, do they?
Like, what are they doing?
Nothing.
What?
I have no idea.
I mean, there's a few things.
Okay.
Like I could point to Matt Gaetz, I could point to Josh Hawley, and Rand Paul. Rand Paul obstructs
Okay.
Yeah,
in
it's
kind
his
of good
job.
ways. I like Rand Paul. He's awesome.
Okay. And he's Republican.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Josh Hawley has introduced a ton of legislation. I don't know where it's gone.
I think
Trump-
the other Republicans kind of stalled it out.
Yeah, probably.
What I recall.
I do think it's fair to point out that Trump led an amazing economy, the best we've ever seen.
Okay.
And so I'm not blaming him right now for and Trump is barely a Republican. And I don't mean that as to be disrespectful to the GOP, but Trump is something different. The Trump
Yeah.
party is very different.
Right.
So Trump has actually done a lot of really great things, and I can't blame him for COVID. The Democrat governors are the ones who shut everything
A
down. and
lot of
destroyed
people
the
are trying to
economy.
blame him for COVID. It's weird.
I know.
I still see memes about it, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, how is that his fault? What?
Yeah.
If anything, he prevented more spread because he shut it down really quick, and
Right.
they reamed him out for that.
But it doesn't even matter. It was an act of nature.
Right. Exactly.
It's like a virus
well,
happened.
as far as we know.
Oh, this is funny.
Yeah.
Like, this is the game that the left tries to play. It's how they control the narrative to the best of their abilities. So
yeah.
Rachel Maddow can screech for 3 years that Trump may be an asset of Russia, which is like an unhinged conspiracy.
Yep. It is.
And she's not called a conspiracy theorist.
Huh.
Right.
Why is that?
I talk about 2 articles, one from the Daily Mail and one from the Washington Post,
Okay.
saying they believe it's possible this disease came from a laboratory. And I say we don't know for sure, but it's interesting to see they're entertaining it. And what
Conspiracy
happens?
theorist.
Yeah,
You're
they're
a conspiracy
they're
theorist.
trying as
Yeah.
hard as they can to apply that label.
Yeah.
And now these activists are actively looking for journalists to write it. 1 article is all they need.
Yeah.
So they can slap it on Wikipedia. Yet Rachel Maddow for 3 years. This is how they control the narrative.
Yep.
They
True.
they discredit anybody who would challenge. And for some reason, like I don't understand how Rachel Maddow gets away with everything she did.
It's all
don't
opinion,
get it
right?
either.
It's not really journalism. That's
But so
what
am I.
decided.
That's fine. I do opinion stuff.
Yep,
How is
that's
it
true.
But this is the game. The institutions are controlled by the tribalist left.
Seems like it. Yeah.
It literally is.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the banning of Uncle Ben.
Right.
Like Uncle. So I was reading about Uncle Ben. It's called Uncle Ben's, right? That's the
yeah.
rice.
The rice. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 1946. That guy. It was a farmer. They used him as their mascot.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's cool.
What's wrong with that?
Good for him.
Why are they removing this guy?
Yeah. That in itself seems pretty racist.
Yeah, a
Oh,
little
whoa.
bit.
We can't have this black man.
He was
like
a successful
showing
farmer.
off our to sell our rice, and it's like,
Ugh.
but he was okay with it. Same with the Aunt Jemima thing. It's like,
Yeah,
she
she
was
got
cool
rich.
with it.
She
Yeah,
got
she
rich.
got benefited.
She went from a slave to a millionaire.
That's
And
fantastic.
was
she
like,
and
look.
she used the money for civil rights.
Boom.
Yeah.
Why are they getting rid of that?
because
what?
they don't know history.
Because they don't know history.
I'm willing to bet.
No,
No, look.
that's it.
This makes sense to me.
But
They
now-
they just see it and they go, oh, how dare they use a minority to try to sell a product?
That's what I'm saying,
what it
bro.
is.
Mr.
Yeah.
Clean's literally a skinhead.
Exactly.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
kidding. He's just a bald guy. It's not fair.
Oh man.
But for real, Mr. Clean is the easiest example of like, what about Chef Boyardee?
Yep.
You don't see
It's Italian.
Yeah, where are the Italians at?
Ooh. Oh, they're all in front of the Christopher Columbus statue.
Italian? Yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying.
right. They're out in Philly.
They're busy.
Don't you take down a
With
statue.
baseball bats.
So, welcome to the show. We're just chilling today because we were like, we're just gonna turn the camera on and just whatever, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Adam was talking about giving this impassioned speech, so
I got
smash that like button if you didn't already.
Hold on, wait.
Oh,
wait.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Wait.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
We gotta
Did you
do
see
it.
I just pulled that in there?
You did.
Smash the like button.
There we
I moved
go.
away from the mic. I
Yes,
didn't want to pop
thank
anyone's
you.
eardrums tonight.
Thank
I was
you.
a little crazy last night. Sorry
It's a
about
little
that.
loud. It's all good.
So yeah, I got this article from more from Wizards of the Coast. Man, they're going nuts.
These people are so dumb.
They're basically making Dungeons and Dragons. They declared it racist.
You got it
And
pulled up?
I do. Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, pop it up right here.
Sweet.
Well,
Here we
I
go.
mean, are we going to talk about it, Nate? I guess
Go,
we could
do it
switch
to
over.
it.
So
Yeah,
this
man.
this is an article from their Dungeons and Dragons site talking about diversity and Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D.
DD&D. Yep, it's the new version of it, I guess. So I guess I'll just read it. Let's just see what it says. It says Dungeons and Dragons teaches that diversity is strength. For only a diverse group of adventurers can overcome the many challenges a D&D story presents. In that spirit, making D&D as welcoming and inclusive as possible has moved to the forefront of our priorities over the last 6 years. We'd like to share with you what we've been doing and what we plan to do in the future to address legacy D&D content that does not reflect who we are today. We recognize that doing this isn't about getting to the place where we can rest on our laurels, but continuing to head in the right direction. We feel that being transparent about it is the best way to let our community help us to continue to calibrate our efforts.
Okay. So
Wow. So that was prepping us for,
Wait.
for the rest.
Oh, gosh.
hold on.
Are you reading it? Are you
Wait.
The
reading it?
orcs are racist.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, you jumped ahead, and that's basically
But
what they're
that's you gotta,
saying.
you,
the
I don't
orcs.
want to bury the lead. People are probably like, why are we getting this message? Well, that's why.
Yeah, orcs, I guess. Well, see, and what I posted this earlier on Twitter, and I was like, they are making the comparison. They're making
racist.
Yep.
this about race.
Yep.
Orcs had nothing to do with humans at all.
Yeah,
like
it's so
weird. I never thought of an orc as a human. Like they're orcs. They're not like an alien species, but basically, if you were to think about what another species is that isn't a human being. It's like
check this out. Wait, let me
go ahead.
read this.
Yes, please. It's riddled with
Here's,
glorious.
They say we present orcs and drow. Drow? Is it drow?
Drow. I don't know.
In a new light in 2 of our most recent books, Eberron, Rising from the Last War, and Explorer's Guide to the Wildmount. In those books, orcs and drow are just as morally and culturally complex as other peoples. We will continue that approach in future books, portraying all the peoples of D&D in relatable ways and making it clear that they are as free as humans to decide who they are and what they do. What?
That's condescending.
I don't understand what they're
Why
trying
are
to do
why are
here.
orcs racist? This mythology, it's like they're. Oh man.
This is actually an old idea because this is actually from Lord of the Rings. And this stretches back a few years. And what's really interesting about the Lord of the Rings is that there are actually multi-ethnic, different kinds of races in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Right.
But
they-
orcs, they honed in on, and they're like, this is what remind us of black people.
Right.
So who is that
Yeah.
really pointing?
Right. So they're saying that the humans represented in Dungeons and Dragons can't be black. There isn't black adventurers. Like what,
Bro,
Why?
I figured it out.
What? Why? Why not? Why is that not is such a far-fetched idea for you, Wizards?
I figured it out just
Hold
right
on.
now.
Oh,
Just
do
figured it
tell
out.
us
right now.
Yeah.
Tell us, Tim.
What is it?
Breaking news, everyone. Tim figured it out.
Yes.
Aliens.
It's aliens.
No, I'm serious.
Aliens.
Okay.
I'm 100% serious. Check it out.
You need a beanie with the fuzzy hair.
This just clicked
coming
in
out
my
the top.
brain
Uh-huh.
because my brain goes quick, and you know it. I was thinking to myself as you're talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like, we just have these depictions of monsters to give us something to fight against. Orcs are not people on purpose, so that we can create a villain that we fight against.
That's exactly
the
it.
orc emerges, and we're like, it's not a human. And we stand side by side with our human
Yes.
brothers and sisters
Right.
to
Yes.
fight the not humans.
This is
Yeah.
Why? Hold on. Why what they need to convince us that non-human creatures are just as diverse and culturally, what do they say, culturally complex as we are.
Excuse me, Tim. Orc lives matter.
No, listen, this is important.
Wait, hold on.
It's because when the aliens come, all right, they're going to tell us not to be speciest.
Oh.
So I am kidding, by the way. but like the general idea is, in Lord of the Rings, there's actually different races. There's white people, there's black people.
Right.
Apparently, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings person, but I was reading.
Yeah, in the books, yeah.
I was reading about it. It was like a southern continent, I guess.
Yeah.
And the orcs were literally not humans.
Right.
That's part of the point.
Yes.
And so in a lot of stories, I'm thinking, so what's next? Are we going to be like, what's the Balrog? Is that the name of that demon?
Oh, yeah,
the big huge
The
demon.
big
dude?
demon?
Yeah.
It's like Balrog lives
Fire
matter.
whip.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, clearly. Hold on.
Pretty cool.
It is a whip, right?
It's very cool.
I
yeah.
think it was a
Oh
whip,
my
yeah.
That
gosh.
means
Fire
then it's intelligent. And it crafted a large weapon for itself.
And there's slavery
So,
implications there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how
man.
come Gandalf when he walked up to the Balrog, did he say, "We come in peace"?
No.
No, he said, "You shall not pass." Gatekeeping.
Oh.
And then turned into a white
Segregation.
wizard.
And then
Racist.
No,
Oh
not even that.
oh
He
my
destroyed.
gosh.
He destroyed the bridge,
That's
saying,
true.
"You're not welcome on our side."
So symbolic.
And then he became a white wizard. That's right.
Oh man.
Man, cancel Lord of the Rings.
Mind blown.
Put it on the list.
No, not Lord of the Rings, please.
No. But in all seriousness, I
Come
think
on.
there's an interesting idea there in that we create monsters so that we can have a challenge.
Yeah, that's what orcs are.
We don't just want to fight a dragon that's mindless.
Yeah.
We want so in for instance in like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
You have super intelligent, all powerful dragon beings that can shapeshift and things like that. Are they gonna come out and be like, actually the dragons are intelligent and we just need to negotiate with them? Okay, I got an idea. Let's get rid of the dungeons. We can keep the dragons though. Okay, because dragons, their lives matter.
Whoa, but there's different colored dragons though, Tim. So when we get into
That's diversity, bro.
we get into that part of it though.
No, but listen, we should call the game Diversity in Dragons.
But it feels
Oh.
And we got to get rid of the weapons.
no weapons.
The magic should all be healing.
Well, words hurt nowadays. So
Oh, for sure.
Man.
it's weapons will just be words,
Okay.
Good point.
right?
All right. Yeah, I'm tracking.
And
Yeah,
and
there
the
we go.
goal will be to, well, no, it's the bad guys try to hurt your feelings
Oh.
by calling you names,
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
and they're fascists.
Okay. Yes.
Perfect.
So you
Cool.
team up with the dragons, and the bad guys are white people
Okay.
because that's not racist.
well, it
Yeah.
feels like that's what they want.
How about this? The orcs are now the good guys. The white people are the bad guys.
Okay.
Will that make them happy though?
I think that would actually be
know.
socially acceptable, to be honest.
Yeah, it might be.
We should try it.
No, but I mean, I'm kind of joking, but think about it seriously. If they're like, well, don't rag on the orcs, they're culturally complex. It's like, okay, well, then I don't know, we can rag on white people, right? Because that's what they do all day and night.
Yeah.
They complain about how they're inherently racist. So then you make the bad guys the racists, and then the game is about you being an orc and a dragon teaming up to take down the fascists. Diversity in dragons.
There you go.
We should stream
So
a
they can
game.
keep the D&D tag.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of like
And
that.
all of the die you have
Uh-huh.
are they're it's a D20, but it's every side is 20, and then
It's all 20s.
it's all 20s, and then
Can you roll for hit, please? 20!
natural 20, you succeed.
Wow, a natural 20. Good for you.
And so here's
By
what
the way,
happens.
we have participation trophies
Exactly.
for any time you hit a
Ultimate
20.
Participation trophy.
You so here's what happens. The
Oh,
bad
man.
when you roll for the bad guys, for the fascists,
Okay.
theirs are all ones.
Ah, right.
Yeah. So here's what happens. But remember, words are
Sounds
violence.
like a fun game.
Words are violence.
Okay.
So when you encounter the fascist and he calls you naughty words, okay, that hurts. But you roll for defense, and
yeah.
because you have critical race theory
Right.
training,
Yes.
you roll a natural 20 and you take
Critical
no damage.
race
But
training.
then, when you roll to attack using your words, you calmly explain to him his white privilege, and the fascist converts and then joins your party.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can
All right.
grow.
Yep. And they, but they have to kiss your boots.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Diversity in dragons.
Yes.
That was I can't. What are we? I don't even know what we're
How
talking
did we
about.
start here?
D&D, man, they did it. Wizards started it by banning some cards. We talked about it a couple times already.
I got a
We're just going
theory.
with
And they're
it.
just continuing on.
I got a theory, man. The people who are doing this are legit white supremacists.
Yep.
I'm
It
not.
feels like it.
But hold on. Let's actually break this down. Where are the white supremacists right now?
I have no idea.
They're not doing anything, right?
As far
Are
as
they
I know.
doing press conferences? Are they coming
They're
out
not.
and saying like, here's a list? No, they're not.
Nope.
So what are they doing? Where are they?
They're probably watching us all go down and
I don't know.
like,
Hold on.
laughing. I have no idea.
Or they realized that the actual path to getting what they want is to pretend to be on the left.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
Think about what's going on right now.
It does feel like they're trying to make a divide.
Orcs.
They're trying to divide
Dude.
everybody
No,
and
hold
make
on,
it
hold on.
about
This
race.
is very tangible.
Orcs are not minorities. Orcs are not human beings.
They're not, exactly.
So one of these people came out and made a comparison,
Yep.
and the whole left went, "Yep,
Yep, we'll go with
whoa,
it.
whoa, bro! They're monsters. They're just
What?
fictional creatures
Yeah.
that we fight as villains."
That is so
Right.
demeaning.
Now think about what's going on with the removal of these characters. Now we can talk about Aunt Jemima because of her history as a character from a minstrel show, but Uncle Ben, literally just a farmer,
Right.
literally just a farmer, and they said get rid of him. So the black icons of these old time brands are being purged.
Yep.
Mrs. Butterworth's. Did you hear this?
No, new one?
They want to change the Mrs. Butterworth's because guess what?
Oh, God. What?
The bottle of Mrs. Butterworth's corn syrup, not good, by the way. Gotta get that real Vermont stuff.
Yeah.
Take it from Sticks, Hex, and Hammer.
That's right.
Okay, the bottle is the shape of a woman.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a regular old grandma,
Uh-huh.
but maple syrup is brown.
Oh, goodness.
So people started complaining that it was a brown or black woman. So they said they're going to be addressing the imagery they use in their brand. White. So you do have statues being torn down, to be honest, right? And the Confederates are being torn down. Let's be real. But I have to wonder why it is they're comparing orcs to minorities, and why they're removing Uncle Ben, Mrs. Butterworth's.
I don't get it.
Well, who benefits from all of this? Who benefits from segregation? That's
the supremacists. I don't want to say
right.
white supremacists.
Yeah.
Just supremacists in general.
Look at
Both sides. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're a supremacist, you want division amongst the population.
You saw what Terry Crews said.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for those that haven't seen it, Terry Crews, great actor, very funny guy,
yeah, he's
said
great.
he's seen it. He said if we want to end white supremacy, we have to do it with white people. Otherwise, we get black supremacy.
Right.
Yeah.
He got
Exactly.
tore up. He stuck to his guns, and he did an interview
Yeah.
where he said I believe his wife is mixed race.
Okay.
And he was like, and he gets attacked for it. He gets called all the racial slurs in the world for being successful. And he's like, we can't have this. We got to be equals. We got to be together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right on, brother. This dude's amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't back down, he went out and did an interview and explained what black supremacy was. I was like, wow,
I
dude.
was impressed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brave.
Yeah.
But you know what? He gets it because his wife gets attacked. This man, I can only imagine what it must be like for someone like Terry Crews to be successful.
Yep.
And to be trying to make a better world for his family, for a wife who's mixed race, and then to get attacked from both sides. But here's the thing: both sides. I'm not talking about regular Americans,
Yep.
because
The
regular
extremists.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and the extreme and it's not, dude. I'm telling you, the extreme right doesn't do anything.
Sit
They're-
back and wait.
Or no, they just talk. They just make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
The left is going out with pitchforks and torches.
Yep.
And the extreme right is like showing up to like meetings and trying to have conversations with people.
Right.
And
They don't want to have conversations. They just want to screech and shove it down your throat.
but the left it works for them. Like they're getting stuff done, man. Look at all of the hard changes. But that's the question I have, and that's why people say that the left they're white supremacists with guilty consciences.
Yeah.
Because
that's it right
it's
there.
it's not us regular liberals who immediately look at an orc and think, that reminds me of a minority group.
No.
No.
Never.
Right.
It's the left that said the goblins in Harry Potter
Dude,
were
yeah.
Jewish. It was the left that said orcs were minorities, whatever.
Yep, that's true.
It wasn't. J.R.R. Tolkien apparently was like a staunch anti-racist,
Of course. Yeah.
and orcs didn't represent minority groups.
They didn't represent human beings at all.
Right.
I read this really big thing about like some like a super Tolkien fan who got really offended by the left's claim about racism or whatever.
Okay.
And they broke down like Tolkien's history and like his personal views.
Yeah.
And they went through the lore and they were like, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings,
There's some diehard Lord of the Rings fans out there.
for sure.
They're legitimate fans.
And now Dungeons and Dragons, man. What are they doing this? They're doing a bunch of other things. I don't know. It's just so dumb.
It is, and you know what? I did a tweet earlier, and I'm reading all the comments. Everyone was like, We don't care what they say. We make our own stories anyway. And if you're not doing that, you're not playing it right.
Right. That sounds right.
If you're going to play Dungeons and Dragons, do it yourself. Make up your own story. That's how I played it with my friends. It's fun that way.
So why do we need them to come out and tell us what orcs are?
We don't.
It's called virtue signaling.
Yep.
I think you're right.
That's what it is. They're
You wanna-
catering to the masses right now. The masses that they think are the majority because they're the ones out there screaming the loudest.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
That's why Crowder went off.
Yep.
And that's why Crowder said silence is consent. And I thought to myself, when I watched this video this morning, I was like, whoa, dude. Because that's what the left has been saying. I hear what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Man, I don't like the idea. Like that, but it's true, man. Now I laugh at the left when they say it because they're out screaming at the top of their lungs. They're not silent.
Yep.
And now we're seeing, even Crowder's coming out and saying it. I got to tell you, man, from hearing from especially a lot of people in the chat and the super chat about Trump,
Yeah.
I'm not convinced he's going to win at this point. I was thinking landslide for a long time watching everything.
Yeah.
But then I started talking to Trump supporters.
Okay.
I started, I reached out to a friend of mine and they said, no way, I'm not voting for him again. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And
Well, I'll tell you this. I took a walk earlier today, and I saw a lot of Trump's signs.
for sure.
I walk around our neighborhood a lot.
Yeah.
I've never seen them.
We're in a blue district.
But now, are we in a blue district?
Yeah.
We're in a heavy blue district.
Well, let me tell you, there's Trump signs all over our neighborhood now.
Yeah.
I didn't see them 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was like
this-
I was like, oh look what.
They're everywhere. They're popping up.
Wow,
It's the season.
there's Trump supporters around here. Like, geez,
There's a lake.
All right,
There's a lake nearby.
I remember this.
Somebody went into the middle of the lake. It's like in the middle of the highway.
Yeah,
So weird.
And they stuck a giant Trump flag
in the center of the
in
lake.
the center of the lake. How there's no dock. Like somebody.
It was commitment.
That was commitment.
Like, I'm doing it.
Yeah, they committed to that.
But look, there's a lot of signs. So here's what I'm feeling. I'm seeing all these things and I'm like, Trump landslide, dude. Riots, explosions, insults, derision. Oh yeah. And then I started seeing a bunch of Trump supporters, like, man, some people that I really, really like, high profile people being like, nope.
Okay.
And you know what it could be? It could be that they're trying to make sure hubris doesn't stand in Trump's way.
Yeah.
Because if everyone is so convinced he'll win, they'll be like, I don't need to vote. He'll win. And then he loses.
Maybe that's it.
And so they need to maintain, maybe, I don't know though, man. But, man,
I think he's gonna win.
here's what's crazy. The people who are complaining about Trump are complaining he doesn't do enough, right? So what you basically have are conservatives demanding a stronger strongman.
Yep.
More authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading some threads and it was interesting because some people were saying, like, I saw some tweets from people saying that they weren't going to support Trump anymore, that he's let them down. And the response from someone else was, do you have any idea what will happen if Trump doesn't win? If the Republicans don't win? It's like, you may be upset that the Republicans aren't doing anything,
Yeah.
but at least they're holding back what could be
That scares
if
me.
the Democrats get in.
It's a good
at
point.
At this point.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, man. You look at the Democrats 10 years ago, and they were saying very similar things to Trump, even Bernie Sanders. And then the rise of the far left happened. And then all you got to do is just take a Google search Democrats kneel.
We should call them alt left.
Well,
Yeah,
they've been called
I
alt
like
left
that
for a
idea.
long time.
Oh, I haven't heard that, but
The alt left was a reference to the identitarian left.
that's what it is.
That's who they are.
Yeah. And they got really mad about it. And they were like, it's not fair. You can't call us that because the alt-right calls themselves alt-right. And I'm like, I don't care what I'm going to call you
Makes them
whatever I
mad?
want.
Good.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna start using it from now on.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
That's good.
But they are.
Right.
There's no difference. They're trying to divide us. They're making, like, shoving race down
Well,
everyone's throat,
it's
segregating us. Like, I don't want to be segregated. I like someone on their valor of their heart and their mind. That's what makes a character, not your skin color.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. Of course.
So
They're alt left.
well, alt-left, it's a reference to identitarianism.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
they are
the alt-right,
identitarianism.
identitarian right, alt-left, identitarian left.
Yeah.
And that's freaky, man.
Yep.
It's just people don't realize what that means to live live with this racial policy stuff. It is authoritarianism to the max. It is there's an overlap with communism They won't let you change your circumstances. You are what you are. Nah, F that.
Yep.
I'm not cool with that. I am of the persuasion that we are all dealt a card of hands in life. We're all dealt a hand of cards.
Yeah, there you go.
A card of hands.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, a card with hands on it. We're all dealt a hand of cards.
There we go.
There we go. And sometimes you get a really bad hand.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, man, I've watched some pretty good poker games where a dude has a trash hand and he wins the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that means you may come from bad circumstances and you can make it.
Yep.
That's America.
Yeah.
Think about the race-based policy, dude. It blows my mind that my friends that I talk to periodically, when I try to explain to them what they're doing and why it's bad and racist, and they're convinced they're better. Harvard, for instance, won the right to discriminate based on race, straight up.
Seriously.
Yeah, so Harvard has a high density of Asians.
Okay.
So they created a program because we have too many Asians. We need to get more, Latinos and black students.
Okay.
So they set lower thresholds. If you're an Asian and you want to get into Harvard, you got to score like a 1330 on the SATs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like what Oxford's doing now. They're like, oh, if you're black, you don't have to do as much work.
You want to know why this is
like,
horrifying?
Excuse me? How degrading is that?
Seriously.
You don't have to work as hard because you can't do what any other race is doing. Like, excuse me?
Yeah, that's affirmative
How is
action.
that not crazy racism right there?
Yep.
Well, let me tell you.
Oxford.
Here's
talking to you.
Here's what the left says when you bring up the Asian thing. They say, well, we're trying to create equality and there's too many Asians there, right? And my response is, I don't know, are they Iranian? Are they Indian? Are they Chinese, Laotian, Vietnamese, Japanese? What do you mean by Asian?
Yeah, all
Right.
those people are Asian.
What does that mean?
No, we clump them all together.
Exactly.
the same.
And so here's
Yeah.
what they don't tell you. What they don't tell you is that the Asians at Harvard are wealthy Indian immigrants
Okay.
and wealthy Chinese immigrants. And so what they're telling you, here's what I said to my friends. I was like, do me a favor. You're okay with this? Institutional racism? All right. I know a kid, 13 years old from the south side of Chicago, living in the gutter. A friend of mine's got a kid, okay? They're poor. I want you to go to that kid, look him right in the eyes and say, honey, you can't go to Harvard because you look too much like that person. That's it. That's the only reason why you can't do that.
That's it.
And that's what the left has won. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be that way a long time ago,
Yeah.
decades ago. We
Okay.
won. We passed laws. You can't do it.
Right.
We're all created equal. It isn't the content of your character, not the color of your skin.
Boom.
And here comes the Democrats.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny?
Where did we lose that? And how are people fighting for that
The
right now?
Democrats, when did they stop being racist?
Never.
I guess,
Exactly.
yeah, they never did.
They just changed it over.
Yeah,
right?
Biden has said in the past month, if you ain't voting for me, if you haven't figured out that you're voting for me, you ain't black. It's like,
Really?
excuse me?
That is.
What did you just say, dude? Are you kidding me?
Who was that Republican we just watched? Was it Sean Parnell? Is that his name?
Sean
Parnell.
Parnell,
Yep.
yeah.
That ad
That ad
was amazing.
It was
Based.
great.
I
Well,
loved it.
so there's a Republican named Sean Parnell, and it's a really great ad. It was going viral. People were sharing it like crazy. But he like walks up to a screen and he's like, I'll never tell you who you should vote for based on your race or your ethnicity. And then he looks and then it shows Joe Biden saying it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he shrugs and he walks away. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
dude, come on,
seriously.
man.
Oof, yeah.
Did you see what they said about what's the senator's name? Tom Scott?
Tom Scott. Yeah, Tim Scott,
Tim Scott.
I believe.
Ooh, that's a great name.
Yeah, I know. It's the best name.
They called his police reform plan a token gesture or something.
Dude.
Okay.
These people sicken me, man.
Well, they don't have
sicken
any.
me.
They don't have any ideas themselves.
The Democrats?
A lot of these people screeching.
Oh, for sure.
They don't have any ideas.
They don't
No,
know
of
what they're
course not.
screeching for.
They don't even know what they're screeching
Yeah.
for. Yep.
Do they even
Well-
notice they're using words like token? That's my question.
They do.
Right.
You remember that video we talked about that like 18-year-old girl getting arrested and hyperventilating? And they're
yeah.
like, she needs her dialysis.
Oh, the be gay, do crime.
Right,
Sure.
right,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Girl. Right. Okay.
In that video, they shout racial slurs at the cops. Straight up. I'm like, dude, I went to a
Wow.
rally in Los Angeles. I think it was a Black Lives Matter rally.
Okay.
And Trump supporters were having their own march. I can't remember exactly what it was. Everybody was marching. And then two groups kept come together, and the cops kept them separated.
Okay.
And they were, guess what? The Trump group was ethnically diverse.
Okay.
Didn't really mean anything to me. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't think
People.
twice
Americans.
until I heard the left start screaming racial slurs,
Dude.
Wow.
like hard N-word.
That's
Dude.
crazy.
A bunch of other things I can't say. The C word. They got words for it, man. This is what Terry Crews was talking about.
Yep.
The words they use, I won't even say. And I think the left, like,
Excuse me, the alt left.
Yes.
no, I mean, I'm sorry, man.
The whole left, you
it's
think?
it's fair to
Full on left.
it's fair to, I guess, to call them the alt left, but they've taken over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Okay.
their ideology is pervasive. Like
Yeah.
if you don't bend the knee, like they'll come for you. They'll take your job. And so, yeah, at a point it was alt left, but now I'll tell you what, man. They've started purging media companies.
Yep.
And now the high ranking positions are being dominated by this cult. The Washington Post announced that they're opening up a whole bunch of new jobs specifically for the new religion. Think about that. How would you feel if the New York Times announced that they were bringing on a new director of Judaism? Literally. And they were like,
That'd be
they're gonna oversee our entire staff to make sure there's enough Judaism in our office.
People would flip out.
That'd be so weird.
They wouldn't necessarily flip out, but they'd be like, that's weird. Now, I'll tell you what, if they did Christianity,
oh, then they would
then it
flip
would be,
out.
It would be
Unacceptable.
people would be throwing
Oh
things.
yeah, they'd flip out.
Oh yeah.
But I just mean, I chose Judaism because I'm just trying to bring up like any religion,
Okay.
like Buddhism. People would be like, what? Why is a newspaper going to have a director that oversees all of the staff and makes sure they're all talking about Buddhism enough?
I know. It's just interesting because they do seem awfully like anti-Jew, which is
Oh, for sure, man. The
pretty
mainstreaming of
insane.
Farrakhan.
right.
Yeah, the overlap between the alt right and the alt left, man.
I want you all listening to think for 1 second. What would you say to somebody if they started, showing off Nazi imagery and iconography and symbols, and then you brought up the mainstreaming of Hitler, and they said, well, I don't much care for him. I mean, he's a bad guy, but I really like what the party is doing. You'd be like, what? No way, dude.
I bet we could find quotes from Farrakhan and quotes from Hitler, and ask people like, which one is which?
We should do that.
Which one?
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of just because someone's evil doesn't mean you're not gonna be able to find a quote that someone would agree with.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they'd have to be the
Like,
same
that's
thing.
the joke. Hitler had a dog too.
It's not
you know
that
what I
they
mean?
agree with, but who said it? If Hitler's evil and
No,
Farrakhan
what-
isn't evil,
What I mean is, you can find a quote from Farrakhan where he says, "I sure do love a good cheeseburger on a Sunday afternoon."
right?
And people are gonna be like, I don't know.
Well, that'd be
Well,
a trick.
that's not really
Yeah.
the quotes that I would
understand.
be looking for.
I understand
Tim.
what you mean, but what I'm saying is, there's probably a lot of political quotes from Farrakhan that are probably fine,
Sure.
and that's the point.
Like you could probably say the same thing about Hitler, but he's still an evil person.
For sure. That's why the James Lindsay and Bogosian and Helen Pluckrose were able to take a section of Mein Kampf and change it to feminist words,
Right.
And they ate it up.
Yep.
But that was actually a really horrifying passage,
That was,
though.
like,
They went for
upsetting.
like one of the worst.
Wow, really? And
Yeah,
people
dude.
still ate it up.
Yeah.
There was something really funny that happened in
Gullible
in
people,
2016. Somebody took there was a letter that was written about coming out to their parents as gay.
Okay.
Somebody changed the word gay with Trump supporter.
All right.
And then like Trump supporters started sharing it because they were like, wow, because like
oh man.
it was like I had to tell my parents today that I was supporting Trump, and they got they got so angry at me. They told me to get out. They wouldn't accept it, and I'm like, that's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I think Brandon Strzok says that. Didn't he say something like that? Like
Yeah,
it
he
was
said-
it was easier to come out as gay than it was
Yeah.
to say you supported Trump.
A few people have said that it's easier to come out as being gay or like transgender than it is
Yeah.
to come out as being. a
Oh yeah, I think
Republican.
Blair mentioned it too.
Yeah, she had a hard time with that.
Yeah, there was that tweet that was floating around last week. It was like you get more like crap for being a Trump supporter than being a minority
Yeah.
Yeah.
nowadays.
Unless you are.
I'm not saying it's true or not. I don't know, but it's been floating around. Mad people shared it.
Yeah.
And it's like that's kind of in line with what we're talking about.
If you are a black Trump supporter,
Mm-hmm.
the left will use every racial slur in the book.
I've seen them, man.
Yep.
I try to follow a lot of different people from all sides of the spectrum to get a really good broad range of views from everybody, and it's like I don't want one source. I want all the sources.
Right.
And I'm seeing them out there and they're like, you know what? We don't care. I don't care what they say about me because I love my life. I'm successful. And I'm like, good for you. Like, good.
Weren't the eugenicists the Progressive Party? Like the progressives were eugenicists in the early 1900s?
I believe so.
I think so.
And I know of a very prominent progressive figure who is still admired and revered by the far left. or the far left and the intermediate.
Well, there's a
Go
lot
on.
of, there's-
Go
well,
on.
hold on. There's a lot of progressives that are admired by the far left.
Eugenics.
Oh, you mean there's
Eugenicist.
a prominent eugenicist?
Oh, she
who
was
is-
even a woman. Yeah, it was very nice. And her name was Margaret Sanger. And she's still admired and revered by the people at Planned Parenthood. So, yeah, it's interesting.
You know
I like
about
that
genetics,
overlap.
right?
Yeah.
Eugenics.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's messed up, dude.
Yes, it is.
She's the only one I really know of, though. So,
What the eugenicist people don't realize, and that's what my concern is. Like, I wonder how many of these leftists are secretly eugenicists. They don't realize that homogenizing gene pools is actually weakening the species.
Yep.
They seem to think that there's a path, and that's like, no, that's not the case. There's,
like, No, we get stronger by mixing our DNA.
Right.
That's survival of
I'll
the
tell you what,
fittest.
man.
Exactly.
People last longer by mixing their genes because I have certain resistances to certain things, and the next person might not. We mix and create a child that is stronger.
This is
Boom.
why
yeah.
they took diversity is a strength, which is factually true,
Yep.
and they completely twisted it into a weird,
So
bizarro
weird,
zombie of
yeah.
authoritarian nonsense.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, man,
Skins.
it is double speak. Let me ask you a question. First, let's point out the simple reality of diversity. We don't just mean genetics. We mean opinions, ideas,
Right.
thoughts. The original idea was supposed to be that if you had a dude who was from, say, India or China,
Okay.
and he came here, they'd be like, I have seen the world in a very different way from you. Let me show you what I've seen. And then you'll be like, wow, I never thought of that.
Right.
So it's not just about their race; it was about who they were. But yes, there have been many studies talking about like an analog to hybrid vigor in mixed race peoples. So these things are true. But let me ask you a question: if they really believed diversity was a strength, why would they segregate farms and buildings, and why would they call for this weird segregation type stuff?
I don't know.
Because they're liars.
Yeah.
Because
they
they're
know it's not
manipulating
true.
everybody. They've pulled the pull the wool over their eyes or whatever. And so now you have people saying things like this: diversity is our strength, and they don't actually mean that. It's double speak.
Yep.
They're the ones actively trying to equate an orc to a racial minority.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, it's messed up.
They don't really believe diversity is a strength. And I pointed this out too because Tucker Carlson did a segment on this saying it wasn't. And he made a good point saying that cohesion is important and working together and having a shared culture is important. It's like, yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, we're a melting pot. That's
But-
what America is.
The shared culture of America is the umbrella of our Constitution. And so long as people come under that, then we're not falling apart. But my rebuttal to that was Tucker has on probably the most diverse set of opinions for any cable show. Brian Stelter of CNN, he won't have on Real Critics. Rachel Maddow won't have on Real Critics.
Right.
None of them will. Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper, they won't.
Well, Don Lemon, I feel like he had that police chief who ripped him apart.
And
he was regretting that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was
And
like, "We're gonna go to commercial." He's not saying what
He's
I
not saying the
want
right
him to
thing.
say.
Yeah.
But then, look
I was
at
like,
this.
"Wow."
Tucker Carlson actively tries to get.
He does. He had the Antifa dude on.
He had a bunch of
Yeah, he
different
had the
Antifa
giraffe
people.
professor on.
Yeah, the giraffe
Oh,
professor.
Man, what a neck.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, there it is, bro. I was like, you absolutely do represent the strength in having different ideas come on and be challenged. And that's
Yeah.
diversity of opinion. That when you homogenize things, it weakens. Because then your opportunity for finding a solution is more limited.
Right.
But there's boundaries, there's limits, right? I'm not literally saying take people from all over the world, put them in a room together, shake it up, and see what happens. I'm saying
seems
no.
like a bad
we
idea.
have a constitution. We have
And in that Constitution, it says you shall smash the like button.
Oh, yeah. That is the Constitution.
well the
Correct.
Constitution
No.
here.
Does it not say it? Our Constitution.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
did
our
I not
Constitution.
specify?
Yeah, he's talking about the U.S.
Right.
Constitution.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
No, so I've made videos about this, and it's funny when they try and claim that I'm not. Look, man, I don't care if people call me left or right. It literally is meaningless. But I'll tell you what, like even Zuby tweeted out, Zuby the rapper, great dude,
Yeah.
that institutional racism and systemic racism are real and they're pervasive, but it's probably too deep to get into a big thread on Twitter.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I probably have a different perspective on him.
He's a smart dude, though.
He's a really smart dude.
He posts a lot of smart ideas about what's going on that a lot of people don't want to address. They want to skip the stuff that he's talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's what's going on right now. There are people who are legit center left, liberal, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, the Brett and Eric Weinstein, people like you and me probably, Zuby. Well, actually, I think Zuby is a conservative.
Okay.
But there's not, and now it's just called the politically homeless. because the left is now dominated by this fringe, dogmatic, race-based
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
doublespeak.
Yep.
And conservatives have a bunch of views that, I mean, a lot of them I don't agree with.
Same here.
However, the disagreements I have with conservatives are relatively minor compared to the threat of our fundamental existence as a freedom-loving people.
Right.
So what basically happens is the umbrella that is America is under attack by forces that are outside that umbrella. So liberals and conservatives, the legit Americans, actually there was a graph about this. It was really fascinating. It shows where Democratic voters were and Trump voters were based on a spectrum of social issues and economic issues.
Okay.
Trump voters were all on the top of social issues, opposing social justice narratives and authoritarianism, but spread out economically.
Okay.
Meaning you literally have 50-50 of Trump supporters between progressive economics and more laissez-faire economics. But the Democrats were all clustered in socialist social justice.
Wow.
So that's what I mean to say is there are people who probably in 2008 voted for Obama. And we definitely know this for sure. 10 million people went from Obama to Trump. And it's because you have Trump's base is actually split up between people who are just about America. But they disagree on should we have higher taxes, lower taxes, should we have better health, like more taxpayer-funded healthcare type ideas, public option or universal versus private. And then you have the Democratic Party, social justice.
Yep.
Or whatever social justice means. I see you're getting ready to spin that there UFO.
Oh,
I get the feeling that people want the UFO
I'm
spinning.
sensing it too.
Are people...
Is it true? Do you want me to spin the UFO? I think it's true.
I think it is.
Sure.
I'm going to spin it.
Do it.
And then
For you.
and then let's talk about let's jump over to the Trump triangle story.
Yes.
So, normally we do like to open with the lead story, but I actually think it makes a lot more sense to
Yes.
actually save it so that
I
everybody
guess we
can...
really didn't talk about it, did we?
Well, no, but I think this makes more sense for those that are
Our
listening.
soft opening.
The general idea is that by the time most people get here, that you see this lead, Facebook
Yeah.
bans Trump.
Okay.
But we do it in the first 10, 20 minutes, and then by the time you get here, it's like we're not talking about it.
Right,
What are you talking about?
So
So-
before we do, smash that like button.
Yeah,
Smash it.
There we go.
Smash it. Smash it.
Smash that subscribe button.
Ooh,
Smash that.
lots of smashing.
Smash that notification bell.
And smash the share button.
Yeah.
That too.
Twitter and Facebook is preferred.
Good work, everyone.
So we're still in the same vein of this discussion, but check this out.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is a weird story.
Yeah, you know more about it than I do. I didn't really read into
This
this.
is weird.
Facebook removes Trump ad that identifies Antifa with red triangle similar to Nazi symbol. Now I want to stop right there. It's not a Nazi symbol.
Okay.
It was a symbol used by Nazis to identify prisoners. But the reason I'm drawing that distinction is that we know what their actual iconography was. The Nazis didn't walk around with this. They did use it. So I think it's fair, but I think there's a semantics issue here. And the reason I'm trying to separate this is when you say that Trump was using a Nazi symbol, people are going to imagine very specific things.
Yep.
Not whatever this thing is. All right. But I've chosen forward.com specifically because I believe they're a Jewish publication, correct?
I do not know.
Forward? Yes, I'm pretty sure they are.
Check it out.
So I wanted to get their perspective. And then I got Breitbart, which counters this narrative.
Okay.
But this is an overall weird story for a couple reasons. One, it's not a widely known symbol to anyone for any reason.
I had never heard of it till today.
And I've been covering this stuff for a decade. Never saw it.
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Never saw it.
Right.
So if you want to argue Trump is dog whistling, to who? Like
I
to
don't know.
a couple hundred people? Like it's weird. There's a conspiracy theory on the left that Trump did this to crop dust, get as close as possible to Nazi symbols, so that Facebook would ban him and he could claim bias.
Okay.
That's a conspiracy theory, though.
Yeah, it's kind of a long stretch.
Yeah, but it is used by the left, and Breitbart proves this. So it's an overall just totally weird story.
Yeah.
But the other big thing about it being weird is how the media contacts Facebook and says, "See this triangle? It's racist."
Just so you know.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
And then Facebook goes, "You got it," bans them.
Ridiculous.
There's another weird thing too, and this was. Let me just read this story real quick.
Yeah, read it. Read it.
In 2 Facebook posts, Donald Trump's re-election campaign tied the loose network of Antifa, which he suggests is naming a terror organization, to an upside-down red triangle, a symbol strikingly similar to one used by Nazis in concentration camps to identify political prisoners and communists. So they show the symbol. Actually, you can see it here on this prison uniform. Dangerous mobs of far-left groups are running through our streets and causing absolute mayhem, the Post reads, citing no evidence for the claim. Are you joking? Do you need to put that in there
Gotta
for
be
it?
kidding.
Seriously?
Please add your name immediately to stand with your president and his decision to declare Antifa a terror organization. Facebook later deleted the ads, saying the ads went against the company's policy against organized hate. Our policy prohibits using banned hate group symbols to identify political prisoners without the context that condemns or discusses the symbol. This is not a symbol used by the Nazis. Like, and I want to be specific by that. It was used in concentration camps to identify prisoners.
Okay.
It wasn't on the uniforms of the Nazis. It wasn't a pro-Nazi thing. They don't fly the flag of this, and it's not labeled by any group, as far as I can tell, as a hate symbol. So what is Facebook saying? So they go on to mention, what it was. Political prisoners would wear a red triangle with a P on it, and you can see here the variations of it. But there were also other symbols that were used. And mind you, this is all really, really disgusting stuff. I think everybody in the world, the Nazis are truly one of the purest evils we've experienced on this planet.
Right.
Indeed.
They say, yet Rabbi Yaakov Menken, the managing director of the conservative Jewish group, the Coalition for Jewish Values, said he did not believe the ad represented an instance of anti-Semitism by Trump or his campaign, and instead suggested that it was Antifa that was at fault for unknowingly using a Nazi symbol. Antifa has been and is very threatening to Jewish houses of worship and schools, etc. Mencken said, citing reports mostly false and exaggerated. Wow.
What? Who's running interference for Antifa here?
Forward. That Antifa was targeting synagogues in some cities during the recent wave of protests. The fact that Trump is fighting so hard against Antifa is only to the benefit of the Jewish community. Trump and other Republican politicians have seized on false reports of people aligned with Antifa inciting riots in cities. Yeah, we get that point. But let's jump over here where Breitbart tries to break it down. Facebook's excuse to censor Trump, a red triangle, has long history as Antifa symbol. First of all, they highlight this, Antifa Utrecht. I found this as well. This image is from 2016. It is a red upside down triangle. I also found this right here, which is also a very old symbol. It is Antifa 2018, and it's a red triangle. And then this person points out red triangle symbol of anti-fascist resistance from an anti-fascist research center. They show the red triangle. They also mention it's been used in other books. They also mention there is a pin used in 1890 for left-wing militants. They wore the red triangle. So there you go, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But I do find the story rather weird for a lot of reasons. One, Media Matters comes out and says Facebook let the Trump campaign run 88 ads with inverted red triangles, an infamous Nazi symbol. I think that's a fake tweet. You know why?
Why?
Forward, which was very defensive of Antifa, said 2 ads. 88 is a very specific number.
That's a lot.
No. It's a very
88.
It's a
Yes.
number.
I know it.
It's that
Right.
number.
I learned this
Yeah.
from the magic card.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, now you know.
Now, for
Yeah,
those
yeah.
of you
Better.
that have gotten the educational course on the Magic the Gathering card that was racist,
Oh man.
there was a number associated with it, and I'll just put it this way: H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. So Media Matters says this. Maybe it's true, but Forward says 2, and Forward was not forgiving of Trump. So
Yeah.
at least I'll say it's contested at this point. But I'll tell you this: Trump War Room responded to not just this tweet, but a bunch of other ones saying, "This is an emoji, the red triangle. It's also a symbol widely used by Antifa. It was used in an ad about Antifa. It is not in the ADL's hate symbol database." And they show this image right here, which apparently is on some website where they sell T-shirts. Like somebody made the graphic and uploaded it.
Okay.
And it's apparently an older image. But I do think it's weird the Trump team is now responding to all these groups to try and just to prove
That's kind of
it wasn't a Nazi symbol or something. You know what I think? I think they didn't think anything about the symbol. I
Right.
don't think it was on purpose.
Yeah.
It would be really, really weird to use some fringe symbol in this way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if you dig around enough, you will find a ton of symbols. So
Yeah.
another example of this is you may have seen the image of it's the Gadsden snake with
Yes.
the Revolution fist crushing it.
Right.
There's actually an image used in Nazi Germany of an arm with a Nazi patch strangling a snake. And so people are showing these 2 symbols to claim the left is now using Nazi imagery.
Wow, interesting.
You can find anything probably from a bunch of different groups because there's lots of different art. There's lots of different symbols that have been used. And I do think it's rather absurd that it looks like yes. Now, I disagree with the wide use of Antifa in the symbol because I have not seen it.
Do you think they're going to start changing yield signs?
I don't know.
Whoa. That yield sign makes me uncomfortable every time I come here and have
Yeah,
to
because
yield.
now I've heard about this.
Yeah.
And I'm scared of red triangles.
Oh, man.
So here, pull this up.
Oh, here we go.
We will
Oh, yeah.
tread. It's overt. It's overt authoritarianism.
Definitely.
The Gadsden flag is supposed to represent the snake, saying if you come near me, like it's a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
It's warning you.
Yep.
Don't-
I'll bite you.
I will bite you if you come near me. But it's basically about leave me alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Just let me do my thing. You do yours, I'll do mine.
Libertarianism, yeah.
Right. This is the opposite. The fist is strangling the snake who said, leave me alone. Think about what that represents. Now, their argument is that, but the Gadsden flag has been co-opted by evil groups. It's like, I look, man, I understand their point of view. These are the people who think the OK symbol is a white power gesture now.
Right. Just so stupid.
They don't understand the concept of symbols. So I'll tell you this. If you believe that the association of a symbol proves what the person, like, if you think that symbols can change instantly, if you think that anything that's similar in any way to another symbol, for whatever reason, milk, OK sign, is that symbol, no matter what they intended, okay, then you just made a Nazi symbol right there.
Yep.
I don't have the image to pull up, but it's an arm with a snake wrapped around it and strangling it. And it says something like the two evils or whatever. And it's a reference to like things they didn't like, and it was probably racist or something in some way.
I'm sure.
But you can probably easily find it. I don't know if you're looking it up.
I'll try.
But so the point I'm making is, if Trump's red triangle is a Nazi symbol, then I'll tell you what, then so is this. So is we will tread.
Right.
It's the same thing. A fist strangling a snake.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right, I'll pull it up.
Oh, we found it.
Yeah, Adam found it.
It didn't take long.
Right,
Yeah, see, it's not
because
hard.
it's a known Nazi propaganda image.
All right, it's in the. Oh, yeah. Let me. Yeah,
You want to pull it up? Oh, I'll get it.
Yeah, you got it.
We're very coordinated.
Yeah, we are. Where's
Top
it?
one. Top one.
This
We're
right here.
just
Yeah,
chilling.
that's it.
It's all good. I did not know that about the Nazi snake
Here,
arm.
pull this up.
Here we go.
So this is an image that, as far as I know, and it's actually, the image here is cropped because there's a lot more, but it's probably better that way because I mean YouTube's gonna ban this video or whatever, because we're showing this.
So what was this?
Well, now show the other one now.
The fist strangling the snake, used by Nazis,
Awfully familiar.
and it's a red and black flag. Who else used red and black? You see, my point is, look, I don't really think these dumb kids here understood what they were doing.
Nope.
But the media is gonna come out and say Trump knew what he was doing. They
course.
let
He's a
Trump use.
mastermind.
And now I'm seeing on Facebook people saying, "Can you believe that Trump ran Nazi symbols for his campaign?"
I see it too, and it's like, are you serious? Did you look into it at all?
No, you know what my response is?
What?
Wow, that's crazy, dude. Did you see those Antifa people also flying the Nazi symbols? And they'll go, "What? That's not true." Like, yeah, dude, the snake strangling the fist strangling the snake, and they'll go, "That's not what that means." And I'll be like, well, I mean, you just told me a triangle.
A
Seriously.
triangle told. That's
How
what
do
that
you
means.
know that? Yeah.
Where this one's way more legitimately authoritarian.
Yeah.
Like clearly it is.
And
It's
it's
detailed.
extremely specific.
Yeah, that's true.
But come on, man. Do these kids, do they really know? I don't think they know anything about Nazi Germany or anything like that. I think they have the two flags, the Gadsden flag and the fist, and they interpret the Gadsden flag the way that their cult tells them to.
Yep.
That it's evil. Ooh. So they made a flag to oppose it.
Yep.
It's authoritarian. It's creepy. And yes, it's very similar to
It's
Nazi.
capitalism.
It's Nazi iconography. That's what they say.
Indeed.
So I'll tell you what. You want to play this game? We can play this game. Every single thing they ever do, we'll just pull up and be like, "Oh, look! Oh, they're doing it again."
Yep.
It's like anything they use. You have an X, the Bluetooth symbol. It's a rune. What? I think it's
It is.
Danish or something.
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
actually is based on a king.
Oh, is it
Yeah, it is.
the Bluetooth?
Yeah.
This image is rather crazy, though, man.
Yeah, it is.
So I didn't literally mean this. I said so they are admitting to being fascist. So they are just admitting to being fascist now. And collective squealing came from the far left.
Yep.
You don't know what fascist means, and I'm like, I'm insulting you. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't literally
Just
think.
take the L.
Yeah, you're like, I'm insulting you. I understand you're authoritarian communists, and there's a difference between that and fascism. Okay, please calm down. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna start playing this game and Facebook's gonna ban these people, I gotta think maybe Trump did know what he was doing, and not Trump personally, but his campaign seems to be pretty crafty. But this is a weird story, man, because I can't imagine it was on purpose. This really does feel like the Trump team didn't know what they were doing. I've not seen the red triangle used before.
Right.
I really
Same.
doubt
I
they started
never have.
digging through Nazi history and they were like, there we go.
Yeah.
That's the one symbol we'll use. Why didn't they use a Star of David, or why didn't they use the blue one, or whatever?
No, I mean, it showed right there on the Breitbart article. It showed Antifa using the upside down triangle
Yeah.
as their symbol.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. What other symbol would you say represents Antifa? I don't
The
know.
flag.
Oh yeah, they do have a flag, the black
they
black
have
and red flag.
A black and red flag, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, weird,
Oh, of
right?
course.
I know.
Similar colors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Because it represents, what does it represent? Labor and something else. The libertarian flag is yellow and black.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly why they split the colors that way. But then the communists fly a straight red flag. That's why the We Will Tread is just red. And then the anarcho-communists, it's red and black, which represents, I think, communism and labor or something like that. I have no idea. Whatever. Well, welcome to the world of stupid.
Yeah.
The complete world of stupid.
Yeah, it's
So-
pretty nuts.
Well, the crazy thing is the censorship that Trump's ads removed. It wasn't running anyway. But I do think this story is weird. It's like, I think it's just a triangle, and I don't think you can draw anything from it, so you might as well just ignore it other than that. But Facebook took it down. What if, man, that's insane.
Yep.
Red triangles are now a bannable offense?
That's so strange.
I guess so.
That's just weird. Is there anything else the Nazis wore? Their uniforms were brown, are all brown. UPS banned?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't they wear blue?
UPS?
Oh, UPS.
UPS? No,
I'm thinking
yeah.
of the.
Isn't their slogan, what can
USPS.
brown do for you?
No, I was thinking USPS.
Yeah, yeah.
Is their slogan really what can brown do for you?
Yes, unfortunately, I wish
terrible
that's
slogan.
the worst
Well,
slogan
that's
ever.
racist.
Right.
They're gone.
Oh man.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
gonna
Bye,
change it
UPS.
too. We'll see if
Wow.
that happens tomorrow.
What can Brown do for you? Get canceled.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man.
Everything's going to be out, man. That's
Oh,
it.
dude.
That's it.
It's only a matter of time before people stand up.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you
or
what.
ready.
don't.
Speaking of history.
Oh.
Oh yeah, this is interesting.
Oh.
Was Beethoven black?
Huh.
You know what? I got to be honest. I don't really care.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Why? What does it matter? His
he
music was
made
great.
cool music.
He was glorious. It doesn't matter if what your color of your skin is. If you do something amazing, I want to give you props for it.
Now, that's true. And what is it saying? That he who controls the past controls the present, and he who controls the present controls the future.
Yeah.
What was that from?
1984.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
Is it? I don't know if I got the quote right. It might be.
That is 100% from 1984. He
But-
who
but-
controls the past controls the present. He controls the present controls the future.
Yeah.
Some version of this. Yeah.
Nice,
Tim and I
nice.
between us, I think, got it. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So they're
Where is this even founded?
Changing
Where
history.
are they coming with this?
So this is actually listed on a ton of verified news outlet sources talking about that maybe they changed his race because it was racist back then and he was actually black.
Where are they
And to be
getting
honest,
that info?
I'm probably making it up.
Okay.
Possibly,
Well,
yeah.
let's pull this up. Here's the
Let's read
story
about it.
from meaw.com. Was Beethoven black? Bizarre post claims composer was African. Internet says history is being whitewashed. According to a picture being circulated on the internet, Beethoven may have been a black man and not the white man we have seen in his portraits. Now, here's my prediction. The first thing we see is the question, could it be true? And then once they seed it enough, then you'll start seeing it morph.
is
The
true,
story will
yes.
morph. It'll say,
a good
while
point.
many people do believe he was actually black, they'll passively say it.
Yeah.
Then later on, they'll say, well, originally incorrectly, called white in history books, Beethoven, a black man, actually did this. And they change history.
Yep.
So they change it. Here's what they say. There is no death of bizarre theories on the internet. The latest one to hop onto the bandwagon is none other than a theory about the greatest composer of all time, Ludwig van Beethoven. We all know Beethoven as the famous German composer and the mastermind behind several popular classical musical pieces like Fifth Symphony, Moonlight Sonata, among many others. According to a picture being circulated on the internet, Beethoven may have been a black man and not the white man we have seen in his portraits. Now, I want to make absolutely clear. I really wouldn't care if he wasn't. I don't care if he was
Yeah.
Chinese or Muslim or whatever.
Right.
I think his music was fantastic. And I think Moonlight Sonata is one of the greatest songs ever written. It's incredible. I love that song. And the issue here for me is more about, are people going to be able to change history?
Seems like,
Like,
it.
what
They're
if
try-
someone
they're
what
really
if someone
trying.
found like a famous black inventor and then changed it, and said he wasn't actually black. Actually, he actually was this or that. We wouldn't want to do that either. We want to
Well-
respect the people, and we don't need to change their histories.
Well, Jesus was supposedly a white man. They've certainly
I don't-
changed him to white. Do
I
you
mean-
think? Do you think the actual Jesus was a white guy?
We know he wasn't.
Yeah, no.
That
of
looks
course
like
not.
me, long haired. They don't call me soy Jesus
Just
for
how they're
nothing.
stylized.
It's
But
like,
no, hey, look.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
That's that's what I'm
That
saying.
when-
It's like,
when
well,
people-
look at that.
History is written by the victors.
One of the most famous people of all time. Was he white?
Whitewashed? Yeah.
How
No,
can
he
you have
wasn't.
Middle
No, we
East?
know he
Like,
wasn't.
no,
Middle
he
Eastern.
wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't a white guy, but he's portrayed as the whitest of whites.
What's
Yeah.
interesting is, especially with anime, that the characters. I was talking to somebody about this. There was a controversy over Ghost in the Shell when they did the live action movie, and they had Scarlett Johansson,
Right.
a white woman, playing Motoko Kusanagi. I think I'm getting the name right. Who was supposed to be a Japanese woman. And I was talking to people. This was back when I worked at Fusion. I was like, actually, the whole show is about people with prosthetic bodies. Their brains are cyberized and downloaded into robot bodies, and so she could literally be anything.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was reading about this was that I started thinking, why is it that in so many anime shows, there's blonde hair, blue-eyed white people? Like Naruto, for instance. He's got blonde hair and blue eyes.
Really?
Yes, he does. And
Interesting.
Edward Elric has hazel eyes and blonde hair.
What?
And so there's a lot of shows like this. And what I read was, actually, to many Japanese people, they don't look at the characters being drawn aren't white. They're being drawn like Japanese. Some of them they do have white characters. They do have black characters. But it's white people who look at the art, and because the art is actually fairly ill-defined, like the facial features and the eyes,
Right.
white people look at it and think, that looks like me. Japanese people look at it and say, that looks like me.
Right.
So it's like people assign their assumptions, like their biases about what they look like to the thing they're seeing. So anyway, I thought that was rather interesting, especially in this context, that now apparently people want race to be the most important, prominent thing.
But now,
Sad.
but let's compare it though. In the Middle East, Jesus was probably Middle Eastern.
He was, huh?
Well,
He was
He
Jewish.
was literally Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now go to this article here. We got Beethoven was born in Germany
Probably white.
to a couple of
Guessing?
a German couple.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
That settles it.
classically speaking, Germans are. I mean, but I'm not saying that there isn't minority groups in Germany.
When
so
was he born?
we could be wrong. Like it could have been that it was a minority group that he was born to.
This is the photo they're claiming proves that he's black.
What?
This is the image, I guess.
Oh, this is it here.
Apparently. Yeah.
He looks like Bill Murray there.
Bill Murray. He
Yeah,
does.
He does a
that
little
looks
bit,
like
yeah.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
He just kind of looks like
Is
Bill
he?
Murray.
Yeah.
He was
A little
born.
bit like Bill Maher.
Sounds
Oh, I
Bill.
see that
He's
too.
got a Bill thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just call him Bill
call him-
Toven.
Bill
Tobin. We've changed him, but not the way they thought we would.
Yeah.
He was born in
that's funny.
1770.
1770.
Not a lot of interracial migration, as far as I know.
And people just want to believe it.
They do.
Yeah, because we're rewriting all the history now. It's fun. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
So it's interesting because I'm not going to read what they say. Oh, I'll read it. They say, "Oh, F no, I'm burning S down. Ludwig von Beethoven, the musical genius, was really black, and this whole time they tried to paint him as white. I'm tired of black people in history being erased and whitewashed."
Oh, wait,
said
hold
one.
on. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. And Uncle Ben just got canceled. Aunt Jemima just got canceled. So all these figures in our everyday life.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like Aunt Jemima syrup, but I've seen it. I'm like, oh, I know about
I
it.
recognize this.
I
It's
like real
familiar.
maple syrup myself, but it's like I don't care what like it's a thing. It's a prominent thing, but they're getting rid of it completely. They're not even
That
whitewashing
person's
it.
gone.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
Objection.
Go on,
Oh.
Tim.
Objection.
Oh, yes.
Yes, please hit me.
Aunt Jemima syrup is awful.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure, fine.
All right, we'll give you that.
And they
Well, it's more like corn syrup.
Yeah.
right,
it's not
right. You know
maple
what's really
It's not
funny?
even syrup,
I was
yeah.
watching Mrs. Butterworth's commercials from back in the day,
Okay.
and I guess Mrs. Butterworth's was always corn syrup.
Oh, all right.
And the commercials they would run is they'd be like, Mrs. Butterworth's runs slower, twice, or like the leading brand runs twice as fast as Mrs. Butterworth's, and Mrs. Butterworth's pours real slow.
Yeah,
and I'm
'cause
like,
it's-
first of all, it's because it's not maple syrup.
Right.
And maple syrup is more liquid.
yeah.
And who cares? It pours slower.
You want
it
it to
taste
stay
good?
on your
These
pancake.
commercials are so
No.
weird, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the Aunt Jemima syrup is when they started doing just corn syrup with flavoring.
Ugh.
And you know what? Maybe her name doesn't need to be on it. Maybe they can, you know what? Here you do. Get some Vermont maple, pure. the good stuff.
Sounds good.
Give that to Aunt Jemima. She deserves it. Yeah. Whatever, man. But yeah, it's all part of this weird nonsensical framework. That's what it is. Beethoven is a great person. He's got to be black. Yeah, Aunt Jemima. Now, honestly, the model and the woman who represented it sounds like a great woman.
Yeah.
But they don't want her imagery anymore.
She achieved the American dream, man. I don't get it.
I just don't.
More than that. She
Yeah,
went from
she was a
slave
millionaire, wasn't
to
she?
a millionaire.
She was a millionaire.
That's
She
so
became
But
a
like,
millionaire.
but do you mean like a millionaire for her time, or do you mean a millionaire based on inflation?
That's what I read.
Because if she was a millionaire back in like
multiple
1900,
different articles that I read about it, it said that she became a millionaire. She was traveling the road. She was like selling the product.
people loved her.
They
That's
did.
crazy.
She was traveling the country, like selling her flour mix,
That's
that
very cool.
instant pancake stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, that's awesome.
This is weird. This is all weird.
Yeah.
get
Upside
it.
down.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, how is it not racist to get rid of all these figures that no one had issues with, especially when they were what do I want to say? Like the first person to like rise
Pioneers.
and show, boom, look, someone that rose from slavery and made it.
Right.
Like, awesome. Like, that's the kind of story we need more of. Like, why would we try to get rid of that completely? I don't understand.
I wonder if it's just because they hate America. I'm starting to think it is.
Yeah.
Because if she achieved the American dream and the American dream now is really, really bad, like, and we don't believe that anyone can achieve it, then why would you hold her up as a paradigm?
You know
so
what?
sad to me.
That's interesting. You should say that, because I watched the Raz article or Raz
Interview.
I don't know.
Warlord of Chaz.
So the Warlord of Chaz. It's funny that's what people are calling him. But Hotep Jesus did an interview with Raz today, and I watched it, and it was enlightening. Raz is not what they portray him as. He
said all lives matter, right?
He did. He said we're all one race.
Yeah, okay, right.
And I was like, awesome, man. And he's a successful man. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
He's smart.
He's clearly pro 2A, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Apparently.
no, but he's working to make real change. He doesn't want to get rid of the police. He said a lot of things that I was not expecting. He's not the figure that they want him to be.
Well,
He's like, no, I want to make real change. I'm really trying to help these people. And that's when I see this video. There was this one floating around where some dude beat up somebody, and Raz was there, and Raz didn't want to fight the guy.
The other guy started
The other
fight.
guy told
Right.
was like, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm just gonna beat him up, and started beating him up. And it's like, see, I see now. Now that I've just heard him speak, today, it was like that was the first time I've heard from his own voice, and I was like, all right, wow, that's pretty respectful. Like, he's actually trying to make legitimate changes. He's, it's, man, I there's so much about it, but it's like he is not the left's ideal person.
He's strong,
yeah,
and assertive.
He's a successful black man.
It sounds.
He's proven that you
he
can
breaks the victimhood narrative.
right.
It
Exactly.
sounds to me like he is also living the American dream.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to like him either once they figure out what he's doing, which is really interesting to me.
Yep.
Like, what kind of narrative is that to feed to the people who follow you? That's not nice.
I never liked this growing up. I didn't like this, during Occupy Wall Street when they would, and this is one thing I've brought up a lot. If I agree with them, then they use everything about my past as an excuse. That's proof. And if I disagree with them, then they disregard my entire history. So during Occupy Wall Street, I would often have conversations with people. And if I agree with them, they would say things like, I remember one conversation I had where they were like, you see, man, you are the perfect example of what's wrong with this system, right? You're smart, you're hardworking, you came down here, you're standing up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
But because you come from a family that doesn't fit that norm, they will hold you back.
Like
and
what?
that's why you are that you didn't succeed in school. And that's why you're here with us. And I'm like, sure. And then a week later, I get featured in all these magazines. And what did they say? Tim Pool is white and born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Oh, please.
I'm sure he's a trust fund kid, and that proves everything.
Wow.
And then there were people there who knew me, and they were like, he's homeless, right? Like, he sleeps in the park. And they were like, that's not true. He's just like an adventurer. He's messing around. And they're like, no, I'm pretty sure he's broke. Like, we had to buy him food, and he's been eating the bagels out of like the bin like the rest of
Smells
us.
kind of weird.
Yep.
Yeah, and he smells kind of weird. But their narrative was shattered.
Ironically, it still holds true.
Think. Oh yeah, definitely. Smell like onions
Sure, I know,
mostly.
it's true.
If only you knew.
It's hard.
They couldn't handle it. When I was a high school dropout, sleeping in a park with nothing, it was perfect for their narrative, for
Yeah.
their social justice narrative. yeah, this country can't accept, your families and true love. But then as soon as I was successful, you're white.
Dude, that's
You're
so
white.
backwards.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden I was like, the American dream is possible. I'm proof. No, you're not.
They're
You're a liar.
cheering for you.
And isn't
Right.
that kind of, and Terry Crews, for example, we spoke about him earlier. It's like, what do they say to him when he says, well, no, I'm successful. I'm doing all this. I believe in the American dream. Oh, well, you're a traitor. You're a traitor to your
Oh,
race.
no, they call them worse things than
Way
that.
worse. Yeah.
Yes, they do. I wasn't going to say those things.
Right,
I know.
right. That's nice
So
of
I
you.
felt like
It makes
I
me so angry, dude.
scratched the surface of it. But
Yeah.
it's like,
I
what?
absolutely look, man. When I hear people talk about wanting to punch a racist in the face, man, I feel it. I hear you, but you
Yeah.
can't live that way. You can't just walk up to a random person and punch them.
Yeah.
As much as I get that feeling, I can't. I get really mad, really mad, because I'll tell you what. I'm not going to name drop anybody, but I know some people who are Filipino, some people who are black, Mexican, and some of the smartest people, hardest working people, successful people. And like we mentioned, you can go on Twitter and find some really great people of all different races that you will agree with, that are really smart. And then when I hear people say stupid stereotypes about people based on their race, the first thing that hits me is like, bro, you're talking about my friend right now.
You're talking about someone I
Like,
know.
stop disrespecting people.
Yep.
You have a problem with people because they act like morons. I got no problem ragging on Antifa who are white and act like morons. All right. You want to talk about gangbangers? You want to talk about, criminals, burglars, whatever? Anybody from any race can be this thing. And we can rag on people for their behavior all day and night. But it is, I have nothing but contempt and utter disdain. I've gotten into a lot of arguments with like race realists.
Yeah.
And I feel like they can't back their arguments up because these things are really difficult to prove. But what I can't stand is on one side of the coin you have the blank slate people.
Yeah.
Everyone is completely the same, and
Nope.
they are all developed by a construct.
That's nonsense.
But then you have the
Yes.
race. But then you have the realist people who are
Right.
like, everyone is a complete product of their genetics. They can't be changed.
It's almost like it's somewhere in the middle.
And I'm like,
Like a bell curve.
Oh,
That-
yeah. Like there's literally a
Like
book
most
called
of the
Bell
people
Curve.
are in the middle of that and don't agree with either side.
Yeah, there's a book about that. And that's exactly what he's talking about.
you know what's crazy?
Yikes.
The motivations of humans are probably like 99.9% identical.
Yep.
Really?
Same emotion, same drive.
Food, make more of me.
Make food and make more of me.
Yeah, exactly. That's
yep,
it. There you
exactly. Yeah, and so when you understand like what humans really do, then everything is derivative of that, and it's about our survival and expansion. And there are people who crave power, and there are people who don't. And there are leaders and there are followers, and there are smart people and there are stupid people. And I think it's absurd that the blank slate people are like, genetics play no role in any of these things. It's like, no, listen, man, let's be completely real. Genetics absolutely plays a role in your height, your hair color,
Of course.
your eye color,
All those things you
your
can't
fast
change.
twitch and slow twitch muscles. And yes, there probably is a correlation between race and many of these features, including intelligence.
Right.
However, you get these people on the far left who refuse to even discuss the concept of probability.
Right.
And so I defer to Sam Harris, the actual brain scientist, neuroscientist.
Right.
And he had this conversation saying it's likely that it plays a role. But I just think that nurture plays a substantial role, probably a much bigger role.
Yep.
You can program humans, you can teach them, you can develop them, and they strive to succeed. So I feel there was I read a story about a chess grandmaster, and he apparently I'm gonna ruin the story because I'm probably not gonna get it perfect. He contacts another chess grandmaster, a female, and he's like, I think they were chess masters or scientists. I think they're both scientists. And he's like, I know how to create geniuses. So let's have kids together and then raise them to be geniuses. And then the kids all grew up to be like the top female grandmaster chess players.
Okay.
And so they were asked to do the same thing with adopted kids. And he was like, I'm too old. I can't do it. But while it's not perfect because it was literally the children of two
That
geniuses,
is a small sample size.
I still think it's fair to point out that there is a nurture role in this. And I can speak from personal experience in the choices made by people growing up in my neighborhood. The difference between me and the kid who grew up, just a few houses down or a block away from me. It's like my mom was tutoring us and homeschooling us extra,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is though,
Okay.
when I talk to some of my more right-leaning friends, they're like, Tim, that's not fair. Your mom's Korean. And I'm like, oh, come on.
That's a little
Like Korean mom tutoring her kids and being
little
very
racist.
studious and everything. And I'm like, no, but I can't argue it. Like,
I mean, technically,
but my mom
correct.
is from St. Louis or something like that.
That sounds like a
I don't remember.
cultural thing then, if it was really important to her.
I don't think that actually. I don't think the reason that my mom was very studious and wanted to be a teacher had anything to do with race or ethnicity.
Right.
I think it had to do with more being a mom and wanting to have an
Being a
active
good
role.
mom.
And yeah. And that's why there are other people in the neighborhood of different races who had similar behaviors, and their kids are successful. Without name dropping anybody, I know some kids whose parents were very supportive and pushed them particularly one individual who was black and became extremely successful. There are people in my neighborhood that's of all different races. So anyway, I don't want to go on a huge rant about this. I think we get the point. But yeah, man, I'll wrap it up by saying this. I feel that anger when I hear, racists say stupid things about people because it reflects on my friends.
Yep.
And I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I am 100% with you, man.
But I'll
Yeah.
tell you
I
what,
feel the same way.
you're not going to win an argument by walking up to him and screaming and smack him in the face. You're gonna invite them over for dinner with your friends of different races.
Yep.
And then like Daryl Davis did.
Yep, exactly.
I love this story, man.
Yeah, he's awesome. What a great story.
He met this guy who was a white supremacist, who they were very apprehensive of him, and he knew that this guy was a huge rock and roll fan, and he was like, I can't remember whose car it was. It was a famous, a classic car convertible, and he was like, hey man, he's like, I'm a musician. I know the guy's got the car. You want to see it? And this white supremacist was like, no way. You're going to bring me to the car. And he's like, I got you. And then all of a sudden this guy was like, what? This is the coolest guy ever.
Yep.
And then he realized they're people, and they came together. And Daryl Davis is a legend, man. This dude is incredible.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is, you should
Dude.
I wish I
check
could
it
have
out.
met him.
Look him up.
Amazingly inspirational dude.
Yeah, he is.
And so we did an event in Philly, and he showed up, and I tell you what, man, he brought with him a chest full of Klan garb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and symbols and stuff.
Okay.
Like his
'Cause-
trophies.
He was asked,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
man.
but kind of.
I've
yeah.
converted
Like,
these
kind of,
people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over 200 people.
It's amazing.
And the amazing thing is that he did it by just hanging out with them.
Showing him that we're all human.
But not even really.
We all
You know what
have
I mean? Like,
emotions. We all
like-
want to have a good time.
you
the
think
truth.
you think it's like him thinking to himself, I'm going to do my best to de-radicalize these people. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was him literally being like, you want to hang out? And then they would sit down and talk about rock and roll.
Yep.
And these guys were like, this dude's rad. And then he was saying that like eventually these guys start to think about it, and they're like, hey man, these things I'm hearing don't represent my friend. And I don't like hearing these things. Daryl's cool.
Yep.
And that was it. And I'm like,
And then it spread. Love spread.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
you know, even if you think the worst things about people, and you have assumptions, and you want to focus on certain issues, I just tell you, man, we have to learn to live together on this planet.
Yes, we do.
There's not going to be a situation where, I mean, maybe China goes and just like start, purging people, but they're not going to win either. We all live on Earth. We're all humans, and I know it's silly because different cultures are, can't overlap. They can't work together.
Right.
Like we are America and China, man. But I'll tell you what, China's way of life, and the Chinese Communist Party's way of doing things cannot survive on this planet without them committing atrocities.
Right.
That's
But
correct.
the American way of life welcomes all people, and there's problems, but we have to make sure we maintain that American culture first and foremost, and then under that umbrella of the American Constitution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, everybody can thrive and be happy and learn to live together.
You know what, Tim? I'm gonna spin the UFO.
There
for
we
you
go.
right now.
Let's do it.
This is for you, Tim.
Now that we just had
Just
a
you. No one else.
beautiful, heartwarming.
Sorry, I love you all, but this is for you, man.
This
That's
is
why I
so
love-
nice.
Spin the UFO. This is why I love America, man. Because think about it. No, but I mean this. The way
you.
the
It's
way
for you
the
right
Chinese Communist Party runs things,
It's you.
the way a lot of these countries with their I don't think so many of these leftists understand how racist so many countries are. Like, I mean, literally, it's very difficult to move there.
true.
Then you have America, where we actively fight against it to the point where we have lunatics running through the streets thinking they're fighting, but they're making things worse.
They're
Right.
actually becoming racist themselves.
Right. We fight racism so hard. We have people fighting racism that mostly doesn't exist anymore.
That's great.
with racism.
Yeah.
I know it's getting bad.
It's amazing.
So that's why we have to keep resisting these people's desire to have racial pretext in law and discrimination. So I'll put it this way, man. These far leftists, they like to say to me, aren't you a fan of Star Trek? Don't you want to live in that future? That's what we're trying to build. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Do they know the story though too? Because
San Francisco.
society crumbled.
Yep.
Is that the plan?
And then after they realized it didn't work that way, Star Trek.
I see what they're going
like,
for.
And the
You
way
don't know Star Trek.
you know what I tell them is like, listen, a real future that incorporates a one world system, we call it Earth, and it's the Federation, and we travel the stars. We all live together. That means you can't go and throw a pie in someone's face for being white. That means you can't start smearing and insulting white people. It means that even if you meet someone who's white, who's a racist, you've got to sit down with them and you got to talk to them about why we're going to hang out, have a beer, have a slice of pizza, and then that's the end of it. You can't play this race tribalism game like they're playing.
Yep.
They're bringing the problems back.
Yep, they are.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
Yeah, we're regressing.
But you know what, man? They're taking ground. That's scary, right?
Yeah. Start speaking up.
Well, there's one thing we can do.
What's that?
Go to Super Chats.
I was going to say.
And you can
time.
smash the like button.
Yes.
Smash, 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 smash. That wasn't too loud, was it?
No, that was good. That was good.
Smash.
Before we go into Super Chats, I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow we're going to be picking a winner for this board.
Oh,
Can
shoot.
Yep,
There
we
we go. Sorry.
So we're going to be giving we have a few of these boards. They are really nice, beautiful
They're really nice.
top layer. I like it. So Harumph say the meme contest is live and running. You can go to my Twitter feed, Adam Krigler at Adam Krigler on Twitter. Submit your meme using the Harumph say image that I provided, and there's some really amazing ones out there.
They're
I don't know
so
if
funny.
you've perused the meme
haven't seen
contestants, but we're gonna all discuss it tomorrow before the show, and basically there's gonna be one winner based on how many likes. So if you go and like whatever one you want, the winner with the most likes gets one of these delicious boards, and then we are gonna pick our personal favorites.
Yes.
And we'll show them on the show tomorrow. So
Yes.
if you want to enter, you have one more day tomorrow, and we're gonna show the winners.
And we also did announce this last week as well. If you go to timcast.com/donate, there is a PO box. If you send us a letter and you mention the board, we are going to pick someone who sends us a letter.
Like a raffle type.
That's
thing.
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
true. So
that's a different one.
If you So we're gonna have multiple things, and I actually just started another contest today
For next week, right?
for next Friday. Next Friday we'll pick a new winner, and that one's gonna be an art contest. Yes. With art based on our show, what we've been doing here, whatever you think that means.
Does it have to be us or can it be aliens?
I do not care.
Oh, sweet.
But just know it has to be at least okay to show on the show.
Yes.
Because we're going to show it. We're going to show the best art. So we'll do the same thing. Most likes will get a board, and then we'll pick a winner ourselves, and it's going to be great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So also on my Twitter feed, you can go check it out. So, and if you don't have Twitter, I guess you might have to get Twitter and follow me there.
There you go.
And you
Make it
can
happen.
join in.
I hate Twitter.
Twitter's a cesspool.
What should we do?
No, it is what it is.
Should we move on?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Timcast, and you can also follow at Sour Patch Lids,
Yeah.
LYDS.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I'm also on Instagram too. You
Oh,
can
yeah, huh?
follow me up. It's a little more. I post more of like my personal
Mm-hmm.
pictures, and then Twitter's more of just like my outspoken mind and reading what you guys have to say. So
With that being said, don't forget to smash the subscribe button.
Yes, and share.
and the like button. Smash.
Both of them. Let's read some. Let's see. Some people got some super chats they want to talk about.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Grim Soul Banisher says, "Watching the world burn around me. Meanwhile, I'm just waiting for Six Flags to open up to ride some coasters.
Yes.
Magic Mountain, open up, please." I
Do you
feel
think they
man.
will? You think they'll
Nope.
open?
I hope so.
You know what? Fauci said football might not come back.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Wow,
when
wow,
the
really?
chaos happens.
That is when it hits
Yeah,
the
that's
fan.
when it gets nuts. People are going to be like, football. Charles Quilter says, "Have y'all seen the Aunt Jar Jar Mima skit from Mad TV? I think Mad TV is about to get canceled, guys."
Oh, no.
No, but I will check that out.
That's funny.
Cole Erdman says, "The only way I'd vote Trump now is if he legalized pot. Please spin the UFO and say, iFunny is great because iFunny is good." I don't know if I feel comfortable saying that, but I just did.
Well, you said it, so I don't have
Yeah,
to.
we had a big discussion yesterday about Trump legalizing or decriminalizing pot, taking
Right.
off Schedule 1.
Yep,
Yep.
you did.
But mostly just pardoning federal inmates who have been convicted of nonviolent marijuana.
Non-violent marijuana charges, yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Me too.
Let's see. Long Dong John says, "Everybody spin that like button and Adam will smash the UFO."
No, please don't. No.
I can't do it.
Don't do it.
No,
Hey,
never do it.
We got Rick.
Nice try.
Look, we got Rick Moranis in the house. He says,
Oh, what
Can you
up?
guys please start saying probe that like button?
Oh,
I'll
no.
see myself out."
I don't know if we should do
Probe.
that.
There's the
Yeah,
door.
Get out. I'm
There-
just
there's the
kidding.
door.
Travis says, 2 weeks ago, the Atlanta DA used the justification that tasers were a deadly weapon in the charging of 4 of 6 officers with aggravated assault. See donut operator for the full breakdown. Oh yeah, totally
Double
hypocrisy.
standard.
Yeah, the hypocrisy is
Shocking.
crazy.
Stephen Faber says, every time I watch your videos, I have a strange urge to go play at Golden Nugget Casino. Why?
Huh.
Is it because they
It's
run
because
ads?
of the ad that
Oh,
shows up.
honey.
I see it because when everyone was talking about a Biden ad, but I've never seen it. I've only seen the Golden Nugget Casino
Hey,
one.
Hey,
Too
well, there you
funny.
go, man.
Yeah.
TL says, question for Lydia. Do you consider it cultural appropriation when someone gets white girl wasted?
Yes and no. Because
you don't.
I am a white girl. I do not get wasted, so it's 50-50. You do.
But is
you,
it
though.
cultural
I really don't
appropriation?
care.
Are
I
they
don't think it
stealing your
is.
culture?
That is not my
Getting
culture.
drunk.
I'm just saying.
Well, it's not really accurate because anyone could get that wasted
That's right.
and act a fool.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's just like,
we just do it really well.
Milo says, hello from a non-far left centrist libertarian furry.
Oh, hello.
Please enjoy some money I made while writing furry erotica. Wow. I will
Congrats.
absolutely take that
Thank
money.
you.
yeah,
The Red Pill Journey says Skate 4 coming soon. I don't believe you.
I don't believe
I
it.
don't believe you.
I don't
EA
believe it.
Skate. You know what I love?
That was a good game though. The skates.
There's a meme that goes around saying make EA skate again. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, dude, it's great. It's funny because skateboarders don't care about making jokes about, MAGA and stuff.
That's true.
There's actually some pro, I don't know if they're pro skaters, but some skaters on Instagram who have the Gadsden flag on their mini ramp.
Okay.
And I'm curious as to when someone's going to come for them because they're just skateboarders.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll work.
I don't
They're
think
gonna
so.
be like-
I don't think so either.
Yeah. I kind of would like to paint the Gadsden snake somewhere.
That'd be fun.
Travis Tolbert says, in the Rayshard Brooks case, the DA is quoted saying tasers are non-lethal weapons when asked if the officers should have feared for their lives in a CBS News interview. Because that man is evil. He's trying to get reelected.
And he's corrupt too. I'm seeing a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Super corrupt.
Dude,
popping
yeah,
up.
It's messed up.
Adam says, Carlos is challenging Tim lately. I like you both, learn a lot from you. Have to admit, I'm fairly pessimistic about the climate our society sees itself in now also. Who's Carlos?
I don't know.
No idea.
Maybe Carlos Osueda.
Who's it?
I think that's who it is. He's a big Twitterer who
Oh,
does a lot of feeds. He's tagged me in a few things. and
interesting.
I get
he just
50
talks. He talks about our show sometimes. Your
Oh,
show.
really?
Yeah, just does basically just long threads about his opinions on it.
That's what
Interesting.
Twitter's for.
Yep.
Cool.
Student of History says, I wonder if the media realizes that if Boog kicks off, they're literally on the top 10 list of groups for both sides. Also, got my coworker into y'all, and he can't stand Chapo Trap House.
Yes. Thank you. Send
That's
them
cool.
all over here.
Tell all of your friends we have the best podcast
We're way
ever.
better than
Yeah.
Chapo.
What? And tell him how awesome I am.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
be like, it's called TimcastIRL, but Adam's way better.
It should be Adam Cast.
Yeah, but you know,
Come on.
but we also are on iTunes, Spotify, Google, all that
Yep.
stuff. So
Every morning I
if
do it.
if you want to get up on that and watch us there. All right, where are we at? Philip Ferguson says, look at the lyrics for the song No More Mr. Nice Guy. It reminds me of the situation that non-authoritarian individuals are finding themselves in. Also, spin that UFO.
Alice Cooper is
I'ma spin it.
based. I
I'ma
love that
spin it.
man.
Shark Bait says, Tim, I have to tell you, Lydia said Nazi. Told you I
Oh
would.
gosh, he did. He said he would. I said I did not see that coming. And he said,
Ooh.
you said Nazi. And here we are.
Podcastage says, what's the theory you've mentioned where you read one story, realize it's BS, but turn the page and think, oh, what a wonderful story. This is most likely absolutely true.
The
It's called
amnesia?
Gell-Mann amnesia effect.
Right.
Yeah, and it happens to everybody. Farmed Keith says, hey, remember when Reddit quarantined the Donald for making anti-cop statements a year ago? Seems strange today. Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? The Donald gets removed from Reddit for anti-cop statements, and now quite literally it's the entirety of the website.
They need to
Anti-cop
reinstate the
everything.
Donald.
Yep.
It's
Nah,
ridiculous.
the Donald.win is doing
They're
really,
doing
really
okay.
well.
That's fine.
Stephen A says, due to red triangles being racist, we must eliminate elevator panels.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And no more yield signs. I hope you guys have a good night. Yeah, seriously, man. That's why I wonder if Trump did it on purpose. Because he knew they would go after some innocuous symbol. It's an emoji. And they're trying to get the emoji banned.
Maybe.
You know,
I
like
don't
to
know.
just troll.
Maybe.
Just
Yeah.
to make a point.
He is
maybe.
a professional troll. And he does a good job.
Definitely. Stephen A says, due to I'm sorry, I read that one. Scott Judd says, at what point can we start charging these crooked politicians and media outlets like Popular Mechanics with treason? Let's do it, boys. Timfowars. Well, treason is specifically when they provide aid to an enemy. So Popular Mechanics giving advice to commit a crime, First Amendment.
Well,
Straight up.
that's why they changed it from Chaz to Chop, because it's an occupied spot instead of
organized
autonomous
protest.
Yeah, they don't
So
want it to be
stupid.
autonomous anymore.
Chaz was way cooler, you
I
dorks.
don't want to be autonomous, Mom.
Yeah. Cadge Jack says, for far too long, our tree of liberty has withered. Now it will be watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots alike. Weak men have made hard times, but hard times forge strong men. Hope you're ready. It's coming, baby. Look at they're going to put a cop on death row in Atlanta. This is
I don't
nuts.
think so.
No,
I bet they're
I'm just like, they're threatening him with a charge that could bring about the death penalty. He's going to get off. He's not going to it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not.
But the riots will happen. Because these people don't know what they're talking about.
Yep.
Nathan says, Adam, can you imagine a Magic the Gathering set with a Dragonlance crossover? Ooh. I would love to see a black-red Raistlin Planeswalker. I would highly recommend the Legends trilogy and the Raistlin Chronicles from Dragonlance.
Well, no, they would start him as like a red planeswalker, and then they would release a different planeswalker later on, and he would be a black mage instead. Because he starts in the middle, and then slowly kind of gets a little kooky as he goes along. But honestly, I don't want it. Because we're seeing what Wizards of the Coast is doing to Magic. They're ruining it. I don't want SJWs to get a hold of Dragonlance. Dragonlance is awesome. I love that series so much. And, man, I think they would ruin it.
They're going to have to ban so many Magic cards.
Yeah, they are.
Do you want to grab the card? Because I have the reparations card. Can you grab it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I would grab it, but you're closer.
We have all the cards.
So I bought one card. You're going to love this. Watch this. You're going to love this one.
He goes, I got reparations.
You don't
And I was
need to take
like,
it
whoa,
off.
really?
Because you can't see it, though.
Oh, that's right.
Tim got
Because
reparations.
there's stickers on the front of it.
Very weird. Oh. There we go.
Can you see it? Can I
we
get?
zoom-
Yeah,
I
you
don't know.
really
That's
can't.
as close
Here, wait,
as I
wait.
can
Give
get.
it to me. Give it to me. Go to Lydia Cam.
Oh, Lydia Cam. There we go. Oh, this
Wait.
looks way better.
Come on.
He's trying. He's trying. It's not. It's not focusing.
No. Hello,
Here,
guys.
here, give me.
Worth a shot.
Just try it again. So this
Here we
card
go.
is called Reparations.
Mm-hmm.
The image is literally a white man with a pot of gold, and there's two black people he's handing the money to. And
Wow.
the card function is it's like a meh card. I wouldn't say it's completely worthless, but it's not that great. It just basically says whenever your opponent targets you or one of your creatures, you can draw a card. But the image is literally a blonde white man with his head down bowing to a bunch of money, and there's two black people that he's giving it to. This, in my
see that?
opinion, is overtly racial. I wouldn't call it racist, but I know the left would.
It's racialized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry I burned down your village. Here's some gold.
Wow. Is
That's
that
what it says on the card.
That's the flavor text at the bottom.
Oh my gosh! Seriously? Spicy.
Yeah.
And then I actually got like 80 of the Pradish Gypsies
Yeah, you did.
because they're like a 10-cent card, but you can't get them anymore.
He sure did.
And these Crusades, man.
Yeah, you got
the
an alpha,
original
an alpha one over
Alpha
there.
Crusade. Beautiful. And it's got a Templar Knight, so gotta go.
Yep.
Gotta go.
Mm.
That whole game is gonna get nuked, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All right, where are we at? H. Madsen says, hey, folks, if you folks write Skull in the chat, I will donate free beer the whole summer. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Skull.
What is it?
Cheers.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
What language
I
is
got
that?
you.
Is it Swedish? Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Oh, okay.
Keith Wagner says, Joe Rogan podcast Tuesday with Jocko Willink.
Mm-hmm.
It's Willink, right? Discussed a Dwayne Johnson ticket with Willink VP listed as independents. Have you seen it? Thoughts, if so? Wow.
That's amazing.
I don't know enough about, I like Jocko. I don't know enough about Dwayne Johnson, though.
He's been talking about it for a while.
He's been saying some like democratic stuff though.
Yeah.
He is
Leaning,
like a
leaning
moderate Democrat.
way into the Democratic.
Way into it. Interesting.
I mean,
I
from
like
some of the
that.
stuff that I saw, I was like, oh my.
Yeah, Jocko is not political at all, though.
I don't know.
Might be just what we need.
Death is Eternal says, the left likes to say healthcare is a human right, and taxpayer dollars should pay for healthcare. Can we use that same logic? I have the right to own firearms, so taxes should pay for our guns.
Yes.
No, but it's not even a joke. You actually can. People have been mentioning that weapons should be subsidized by the government because it's a constitutional right.
That's why I said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
so
I'm being
literally,
quite serious.
it's called universal firearms protection or
Yeah.
universal, firearms. Yep.
That is the craziest face. Lydia
The government-
really wants this to be
I
a thing.
do. I'm so
when you
excited.
turn 18, you can go to the D.
Come on, spit it out, Tim.
I'm trying to create an acronym for this. I'm gonna make it up.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Department of Gun Acquisition,
DOGA.
Okay.
the DGA,
Okay.
where you show up and they have a whole bunch of guns in stock and ammo, and you have to take a test like you do for the DMV.
Okay.
And you fill out signs. You got to fill out, what does this sign mean? What does this one mean? And, at what range does this work? And like, how do you, unload this thing? Safety.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you pass the written test, you have to do the physical portion of it, where you walk up to the range and they make you fire, and then they hand you your gun and they say, there you go.
You are now an American citizen.
But this is not to say that you need a license to buy the weapon. It's just that if you want to acquire it from the government, they make you go. I mean that actually seriously. That would be pretty interesting, because then you'd have a ton of people who go through a training.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you have to go through the training in order to buy a weapon at all. You can
Right.
you can do the normal purchase like whatever, but you'd also have a gun acquisition department where you can walk in, and then once you pass the written exam, they hand you a gun free of charge.
WAD.
Free of charge.
Weapons Administration Program.
I'm half joking about it, but
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that
I don't know.
It's 2A.
I don't know.
We need to educate people.
Not
Get
too
more
bad.
people trained and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Hedge says, thanks for actually having a conversation worth listening to. Can't tell you how appreciated you are. I appreciate you appreciating me, huh?
Thank you.
And I do also.
All that too.
Quiet Guitarist fan says, can't watch tonight at work, and a patient is watching CNN. Ooh.
Oh, sorry.
It's all fear-mongering garbage. I can't help but smile and laugh like the Joker. Anyway, here are monies for you. Can I ask Lydia reasoning for her pro-life stance?
Oh, okay. Well, like I was talking about earlier, the person behind Planned Parenthood is a literal eugenicist who gave the Nazis ideas. So as far as I'm concerned, that's not really a great argument for the entire premise of Planned Parenthood. And then my other argument...
Well, Planned Parenthood is way more than just being about pro-life. I'm just saying,
They
they do
provide
so
services.
much more than just that.
Right. So
But it was founded by...
a eugenicist who gave the Nazis ideas. So I really don't like that premise. So I'm starting with that. I don't like the idea of eugenics. I don't like the idea that over half of the black babies in New York City were aborted in 2018. I don't know if anybody knows that. But as far as I'm concerned, black people should be up in arms about that. That is
Whoa.
a serious problem. And we need to address why that happens. And we need to look at black fathers. And we need to look at the entire culture in large cities. And that's part of my stance.
I think it's because Democrats are racists.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm not saying that to praise Republicans. I think the Republicans literally are just sitting on their hands. So, yeah, man, I'm from Chicago. And I was talking to someone I know from Chicago, and they were defending the Democrats. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, dude? Have you ever stopped to think about all the messed up stuff that we went through? Like, we once had the mayor come to our neighborhood and promise us all this great stuff. We raised all this money, and then they just left, got the photo up, and then just left us high and dry. They, like, I'm not going to get into the details of it.
Yep.
But I actually had a park call the cops on me after I was skating at a park I helped build. Like, I campaigned, and the mayor came down, and then as soon as he was gone, they were like, "Get out of here." And that was Chicago, and that was the Democrats.
Yep.
So the Republicans didn't mean anything to me. I don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
It was the Democrats running Chicago who were giving me the business. All right, let's see. The Grizzly says, please read the official Dungeons and Dragons Wizard of the Coast post. They're getting rid of orcs in Dungeons and Dragons because of what they represent. They're also getting rid of all stats and abilities.
Wow.
What? Is that
What?
true? Did we miss that?
Oh, man.
I don't believe that. They didn't say they were getting rid of orcs, did they?
I didn't know they were saying orcs are just as
Culturally diverse.
as humans. Okay. And dark elves. The Drow is dark elves.
Okay,
It's like,
listen.
Come on.
Student of history says George Washington Carver, the man who invented peanut butter. Not true.
Oh no?
Not true at all.
Lies.
No, he did invent a ton of things around the peanuts, my understanding.
Yeah, he helped with their development.
Well, that's
I do believe he
they're
helped
still the
popularize.
student of history, still learning.
Yep.
I read that it was a French guy. French guy a long time before invented peanut butter.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just what I heard, maybe. All right, let's jump down. Let's see what we got. What we got? Mr. Wombat says, these dopes calling for dismantling of police should be careful. If they think fire and emergency medical services are responding to a scene not secured by law enforcement, they just might be in for a rude awakening. I can attest to this because my dad was a firefighter, and I heard the stories from these guys. They pull up on an ambulance assist, and there's a guy bleeding out, and there's gangbangers, Chicago, and they got guns, and the EMTs and the firefighters are just sitting in their cars like, nope, I'm not getting out. Sorry.
Die for this.
And then people are like, you got to help them. They're like, nope, not as long as you're here.
Yeah, an EMT worker hit me up earlier today and said, we don't go onto a scene until the cops
saw that.
have
Secured
secured it.
Yeah.
We will not do that. So all these people that are going to get shot, if there's no cops, there's no EMT worker want to help.
So that's a classic case of securing your own oxygen mask before you try to help someone else.
Yep.
Because if you can't protect your EMTs, how are you going to go rescue people who collapsed on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Dude, people don't get the importance of police, man.
Or the civilization that we've built.
Seriously.
It's like there's
Society.
society as a whole sure has some issues that we need to correct. Absolutely agree. But as a whole, we are in a great situation that everyone's taking it for granted.
Yeah, man.
No. I'm sorry. That's not right. Not everybody. Not everyone takes it for granted. I don't.
No, I don't either.
I can speak for myself.
Yeah,
I appreciate what I have.
for sure.
Whoa, check this out.
Ooh.
1991 Shadowheart says, "Hey Tim, for what it's worth, the Liberalists FB page got zucked overnight. Liberalists down under are in chaos, and other pages are prepping backups. It feels like a bigger thing, as like-minded pages are getting zucked as well. Stay safe."
Oh.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep.
Man, they're just they want to eliminate the left that is sane and rational.
Yep.
They don't like you. They want you gone. Larry Goddard says, "If Garrett Rolfe gets convicted of felony murder, I feel that there will be a mass resignation from every police officer across the country.
Yeah.
What cop is going to want to respond to any call involving a young black man?"
Seriously.
Well, I was thinking about that. Where we live, we got good cops.
Yeah.
We live in a small town in the suburbs.
Yep.
And our department, we have nothing but respect. Like I've only ever been taken care of. Like I've
Some
had,
of them live in our neighborhood.
yeah. I had one issue where I was like, I wanted to skate super early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I just called them up, like, "Howdy," and then I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm just wondering," and we just talked, and it was just that simple. No issues, no wait times, no lines, no queries. It's literally cop answers the phone.
Perfect.
"How's it going? How's it going?" And I've asked some pretty funny questions, like, just out of the blue, like, "How big could a building be in our town?" And then the cop, I literally asked him this, and he's like, "I don't think we have a regulation for that." And I was like, "So I could build a skyscraper?" And he goes, "I think you can." And I started laughing, and I was like, "I'm not really gonna do it." And then he laughed, and he was like, "Yeah, there's no restriction, man. I mean, that's no one's ever asked me that before."
Well, Tim, that sounds an awful lot like white privilege.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And you are white in this situation specifically.
Yeah,
So-
whenever I'm having a good interaction with police, I'm white.
Right.
And any
Yeah.
bad interaction is because I'm mixed race.
Oh,
I swear that's what
okay.
they would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Why would our cops walk off the job? Because of Atlanta.
I don't
We
know.
we like them. Like we
They
we
seem to
can
like
we can
us.
literally walk in and, hey guys, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
It's that easy. And so when you're in New York, I've dealt with NYPD. Not fun.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
here.
really bad. Big city cops are very, very different.
Democrat city cops.
Oh yeah, man.
Big
It's Democrat cities.
Yeah.
That's what they voted for. Man.
Police. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, let's read some more super chats. Nava Down Under says, "Atlanta DA, according to the AJC, is under criminal investigation by the GBI for allegedly taking at least $140,000 in Atlanta taxpayer dollars to supplement his salary through his nonprofit."
Yes,
Yep.
indeed.
Get rid of the guy. Purge
Seriously,
him. Just
get him out.
Get him out.
Yeah.
He's going to burn your city down. This
That's
is
cause a
insane.
war.
Right.
Let's see. GSO59 says, "They don't like civil liberty symbols because they don't want civil liberty." Definitely. Snafu says, "Dungeons and Dragons and dumb," with some red triangles. Is the red triangle emoji going to be a thing now? I think it is.
Yeah. It is.
Absolutely it is.
100%.
Now that you
People
just
are
said
posting
it,
it.
it's going to start spamming.
Well, no,
again.
they're already no, I
Yeah,
mean
did
like
you see the chat before?
Oh, no, I know. That's what
moly.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
yeah, and there we go.
Yep. That's the thing.
Thumbs up, okay signs, and red triangles.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. It's an emoji. Why do they have emojis that are Nazi symbols?
Oh gosh.
Because they're not.
Because
have
they're not.
They have a no girls symbol still.
That's right. They have
What the
did you know
heck?
this? They have
What?
Facebook, okay, has a circle with a line through it, and in the circle is a woman.
It's a girl.
Oh.
That's it.
That's wonderful.
So I jokingly changed the emojis with several of my friends who are
Yep.
female to the no girls allowed.
Okay.
Yep.
Just so that instead of doing a thumbs up, I just hit the no girls allowed. Why do they have this
hilarious.
emoji?
Why?
I think it's awesome.
No girls allowed.
I don't know.
I forget what it means, but I think it's
look at
awesome.
the red triangles.
I told you.
Look
Oh,
at
jeez, man.
Our chat is the best.
that. I know, right?
We have fun here on TimcastIRL, I guess.
Well, I know I do.
We do, yes.
Let's see. Zoivod says, "The left hates America because some were held back from being able to take advantage of all that America offers. But as we progress, we are removing those barriers. Hopefully, America survives long enough for these people to realize it's for them too."
Yes.
I've certainly realized
Yeah.
it.
Boom.
That's a
The
good
Grizzly
wish.
says, "Hey guys, I've got a game that's a replacement for both Warhammer and D&D. It's called Kings of War and Vanguard. It's a game that uses fantasy models and scale from D&D RPG to full-scale Warhammer RTS war battles. It was created by ex-Warhammer employees.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
I've heard of Vanguard. Is that the same? I'm not sure if it is or not, but that's cool.
Caleb Field says Steven Crowder is dropping a new Change My Mind next week. America is not racist. Change my mind. Also, he choked out his audio guy on his show tonight when demonstrating a proper chokehold.
I figured he would. Did he pass out? That's what I want to know.
I
really?
believe he did.
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
Oh,
what
wow.
I heard was that
Oh my
he
gosh.
did, and then immediately came to, and they were like, "All right, you're okay, man." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm fine. What do you mean?"
Oh,
Like
okay,
it just immediately just came right back.
good,
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
A proper
It's terrifying.
chokehold. That sounds like a Crowder episode.
Yeah, it sure does. Waterboarding.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he did that. He said it's fine. He did it to
Dude,
himself.
Crowder's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I love
Oh,
it.
what a boss,
I
though.
love it.
Villain Music Dude says, guys, check your Instagram accounts. I sent a warning video from 1969. A warning from Edward G. Griffin showing how communist countries use race destabilization to occupy police and National Guard with civil violence so that planned violence can occur.
Ooh,
Yikes, man.
interesting.
This does seem
69?
awfully planned, doesn't it?
Wow, dude.
Here, check it out. Vincent Keegan says, Joe Rogan had an interview with Hotep Jesus a year ago. Check it out on his podcast. Watched it the other day and didn't realize he was Raz. He is a great man. Wait, that he was Raz?
No, he's not Raz.
No, Hotep isn't Raz. Hotep had an interview with Raz
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
earlier on
They were chatting.
his podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good conversation.
Villain Music Dude also says, I feel that unfortunately it's too late to turn back. The culture war is lost. And what we can only do now is slow down the inevitable. To change it at this point requires resurfacing of patriotic values institutionally, but it will take many years. Dare I say I agree. We have an entire generation of people who have an insane worldview that can't be mended.
Yep.
They say the same thing about Trump supporters, but that's not true. And there's no way to solve that. So I say this as somebody who never is not a Trump flag waving, MAGA hat wearing individual. It's funny because during Occupy Wall Street, I had conservatives, mocking me in my chats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I would defend free speech, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, okay then." Like that was it. I'm like, I don't care. You can insult me all you want. And they were like, "Oh." And then
we like that about you.
once the left started going insane, the left turned on me. And I actually talked to an Antifa guy who I've known for a really long time. And he said, what I didn't realize is that they were exploiting me and people like me who are stupid enough to allow them to gain power. I'm not kidding. I literally told me this.
Wow.
Saying that when we talked about nonviolent civil disobedience and all those things, they just used us because we promoted them enough to get them to a point where they could have actual cultural relevance. And they've always believed in using violence.
That sucks.
And now we're in their way. So
Yep.
we're out. I swear it is. What's this guy? And this guy's like, relatively prominent. But
Oh man.
I think you've got a whole generation now of people. So the example I use is often is like a friend of mine who used to be a really nice person who would sit down and talk with you, posting insane things that aren't true. And there is nothing you can do to show them a video. It's like, I have a video showing a man turn and point a weapon at an officer. And you can argue he still shouldn't have died, and that's a fair conversation. Many people disagree. Conservatives show the video of the tasers on the highway. But they won't even watch the video. They'll say straight up, I refuse.
How do you have
You're a liar.
conversation with
Propaganda.
that?
I was in San Bernardino. There was a protest between, it was like an Antifa versus Trump supporter thing. And when I walked over with my camera to the far left side, and I started asking people if they wanted to do an interview, one of the organizers started chanting, mic check, and then started chanting, do not talk to them. Do not talk to them. And then whenever I would try and talk to them, they would look past me and just start mindlessly chanting. And I'm like, that's cult.
Yep.
It's a cult defense technique to make sure no one can hear any conflicting ideas or be woken up from the cult they're in.
Yep.
So I find it's really funny that they're called woke because they're actually being put to sleep.
That's funny. Yeah, you're right.
They're being lulled into a false, world. And the red pill is when you wake up from the lies of the media and have to decide for yourself.
Oh, trust me, Tim. I know.
Oh, yeah.
No, this is funny because we had this conversation because you've mentioned that like I've opened your eyes or I've red pilled you.
No. I did it to myself. I do my research. I read a lot. I watch.
But I just meant like you coming here,
Yeah.
and then starting to do your research.
Well, I
Catalyst.
mean, you gave me this job. You called me up one day and you were like, "You want
Buddy,
to
you gotta come
do this podcast with me?" And I was like, "Yes, of course I do.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun."
But I bring this up because earlier today, when the Dungeons and Dragons thing happened in the Magic, I was like, you realize that whether I called you or not,
Yeah.
like you would be in all of this already.
That's true. You're
That's
right.
So what's crazy about that is how it's activating regular people who normally weren't involved in politics.
Yeah.
Because like if you'd be hanging out with your buddies playing Magic, and all of a sudden all these cards banned for being racist, you'd be like, "What?
Wait, what?
What is happening?"
Yeah.
And then Dungeons and Dragons comes out and says, "Orcs gotta go." You'd be like, "Whoa,
Whoa! They're not getting rid of orcs.
Well, I'm being.
They're making them
More
peaceful people
inclusive.
that are
peaceful.
that you can relate to because
goodness.
everyone has feelings.
Okay. They're supposed to be the monsters.
Everyone gets participation trophies.
That's right.
Everybody gets a trophy.
But not the people who are going into our meme contest. This
They
is
get
the only
actual
trophy.
Trophies.
This is the trophy we're giving away tomorrow. We're going to give away a couple of these boards. We're going to pick a winner.
for your participation.
No.
No.
Kidding.
No, Tim. Bad Tim. No.
It is not a participation
Yeah. So,
trophy.
and if you don't know, if you weren't here earlier when I was announcing this is the board that I'm going to be giving away. Well, we're all giving it away.
We're gonna sign them.
Go
We're
to
gonna
go to
sign
my
'em. Oh,
go to my
yeah.
Twitter right here. Where am I at? There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
And you can hit me up and make a meme with the Harumph I Say graphic that I've got posted on the meme or on the
Scribble on that
tweet.
board.
And you can find it. We're going to sign it. And tomorrow we'll show you who won.
Yes.
And we're going to pick a winner. And you can pick your own winner by liking whichever one you like the most on that
Yes.
post.
And I'll give you some advice, at least as it pertains to the meme I may pick. The Harumph I Say thing that I do is a reference to the snooty elitists who are shocked when, you know. Here's the best example. Did you ever see that Family Guy skit about pass the all fruit? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
So Family Guy did this joke. There's an 80s commercial, I guess, where it's a bunch of rich people, and they're like, "Can you pass the Palmer's all fruit?" And then they pass this jar, and then it finally comes to some like redneck guy, and he goes, "Can you pass the jelly?" And then they all faint and like, oh, and like the butler's
Clutching
fanning the woman.
Collecting their pearls.
So Family Guy did a joke about that, and then they were like, they stopped after the joke, and then Peter says, "We realize that our viewers under 40 have no idea what the reference to this joke was, so let me explain it to you." And then they do a commentary on the joke. That's the Harumph I Say. Donald Trump is the guy saying "pass the jelly," and all of the snooty ivory tower people are going, "Oh,
Pearls.
all fruit, the
Clutching
jelly."
pearls.
Yep, clutching their pearls.
Yes.
Yep.
So what I would be looking for in a good meme is the Harumph I Say alongside some kind of elitist shock. You know, whatever that might be, like them being hypocritical and like shocked that the peasants are rising up or resisting or rejecting the media, something like that.
So should we all pick our own favorites?
That's what we're gonna do, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, I mean, we kind of
So we're gonna give
never
up-
really talked about it.
Yeah,
Just
we
kind of
didn't
like
really, like-
lazily
So-
threw it
Yeah,
together.
sure.
So it's the most liked one,
The
Yeah.
most liked one.
and then we each choose our favorite.
Yeah.
All right,
So
that sounds
4
awesome.
boards.
All right, so
Perfect.
if you want to cater to Tim, I mean,
That's
now
what
you
you
only have
gotta
1 day
do.
left, so.
Make it happen.
But yeah, we're gonna scroll through and pick our favorites tomorrow.
That's
It's gonna be fun.
I'm excited.
Yep.
And then don't forget, you can also go to timcast.com/donate. There's a P.O. box. And if you want to send stuff, you can. But if you also include in whatever you send a message about the board, we're going to randomly pick one of the letters we get.
Just say I want the board.
Probably, this one's probably got to be next week.
No.
give
Next week we're gonna do the art contest.
Yeah, so it could
So-
be 2 weeks
No,
out.
I'm saying we'll pick the winner next week for this one with the letter, simply because we need people to have time to actually mail something.
Okay.
Well, that's why I was gonna say maybe not next week because that'll be the art contest. That, by the way, I just started a new contest today, basically making some art about our show. Am I here? Okay. Yeah, about our show, and you can submit it. Boom, again on my
There we go.
Twitter account, and
Perfect.
just whatever you feel shows us as TimcastIRL what we do here, making art about it. We're gonna show it on next Friday's show. And that'll be that. So then the mail-in thing, I mean, I feel like we should have that go running for like a month maybe. You know, to give people time. We could talk about it often.
Yeah.
You know, send us something. If you,
And then we can collect all
if
the
you're
letters
sending
and
us
stuff.
anything,
Yeah.
you know, just put it in there. I would love a piece of that sweet harumph board action.
Yes.
So get your submissions in for the meme contest before tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna cut it then because we're gonna discuss who should
Yeah, we
be
gotta
winning,
talk about it before the show.
and then we'll do the art contest next Friday. And also tomorrow is our jam night, and you're not recording this weekend. And it's been a while since you played. I believe
Yeah, I think
3
it'll
weeks.
be good.
Yeah, it's been a
Yep.
while.
Oh, you're playing a song.
Oh, yeah.
People want to hear you play a song.
That's right.
I know I do anyway. Maybe I can. Maybe I'll back up sing on one of your songs.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be
maybe
fun.
we'll jam it out.
That'd be so cool.
Tomorrow
should
night,
jam
we always
out.
wrap up with a good little show. So
Yeah.
for now, there's one very important thing you must do.
Smash the like button. Smash.
And there are a couple other buttons you can smash. if you can keep your wits about you for just a moment, you may smash that subscribe button.
Yes.
Smash.
And that notification bell.
Smash it.
And
And well, it's 10, so that usually means we're getting ready for Betty Bye. We have a hot, fresh loaf of bread
yes.
prepared.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if we've ever mentioned it, but
No.
we have an automatic bread machine.
Yes.
All you do is throw everything in and then press start.
All you do. I'm a master at
Then
my
by the
skill.
time the show is done, there is a hot, fresh loaf of
Talk
bread.
about privilege, huh?
That's
privilege.
right.
Huh?
Yeah.
We take some flour and some sugar and some yeast and some herbs, and then boom,
White bread privilege.
bread. White bread
Yes.
privilege. So we're going to go slice into that delicious white bread, but thanks for hanging out. Seriously, if you want to subscribe to the show, we do the show live every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we put clips up the next day. So stick around because we will be back tomorrow at
Yes,
8
we will.
p.m. live. And we'll see you all then.
Good night,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.